Yeah, a serious football team playing a strong outfit in the Premier League as well. There is a cacophony of noise here at Molineux, a really fantastic atmosphere, and of course a trip to Wembley in store for the winner today as the players head out. The Coventry fans clapping their players, and the players are clapping them as they head out and line up across the FA Cup hoarding just on the pitch right in front of us. Now, the last time these sides met, Jim mentions that they don't play each other often. The last time was in fact back in League One in the 2013-2014 season. It was actually a record-breaking promotional campaign for Wolves, but there was a thorn in their side that season, and it was actually Coventry City who held them to a draw on both occasions that they met. Of course, both teams have come a long way since then. Both have pressing priorities this season. Wolves, of course, 2 places and 2 points outside the European spots. They'll be keeping their focus upwards in the Premier League table, whilst Coventry are a place and a point outside the playoff places. They'll be desperate to fight for a place in the top flight once again as well. But the Cup is very much a priority and an absolute dream for both of these sides who haven't won it in a while. It is a bit of a derby atmosphere here, and we're really looking forward to it as the players are starting to take their places on the pitch, and we're getting ready ever closer to kick-off, which is just a few moments away. So with that, I'm going to hand you over to our commentary team for today. Of course, the former Norwich, West Ham and England striker Dean Ashton, but first, our match commentator today, Jim Proudfoot.
Thank you, Resh, and a very good afternoon to you. So whilst parochial passions might not bring the enmity to this Midlands rivalry that suffused most others, this is a day all about context, because whilst most quarter-finalists find themselves here on an annual, at least near annual basis, for Coventry in particular, this is a day of days. There's not a glorious Cup history. 15 years ago, they were last in the last 8. They've only ever got past this stage once in that most celebrated of seasons in the late 80s. And if you throw in their journey from the last quarter-final to this, it adds another layer to their pride of the occasion. Those 15 years have brought home games in Northampton and Birmingham, a full Elite 2 administration and doubts over their very being. So to be back on this stage is testament to their achievements. Wolves have reached 8 finals, all of them back in the day, and very few here today in old gold and black will remember the last one. It's a victorious day back in 1960. But for one of these Midland sides, the dream will continue. Brighter still, just a win away from the final. Now these are the teams: Wolves, Jose Sarr in goal, Kilman, Sandy Bueno and Totti, Semedo, Joao Gomez, Mario Lamina, Doyle and Aït-Nouri. Sarabia off youngster Fraser up front, making only his second senior start today. Coventry, Collins in goal, Thomas, Ladybodiere and Kitching, Van Ewijk, Eccles, Sheaf and Bidwell, Palmer and Wright and Sims up top. Referee today, Sam Barrett, one of the most highly regarded young officials in the game. So is it going to be a second FA Cup semi-final in 27 years for Wolves, or a first in 37 for Coventry? We're about to find out. Wolves, old gold and black, defending the South Bank away to our right-hand side. Coventry in their predominantly sky blue shirts with some white stripes down the front. And they're defending the Stan Cullis stand away to our left-hand side. We're underway. Wolves kicking them from right to left, working the ball immediately back towards Max Kilman. It used to be said, Dean Ashton, that losing a semi-final was the worst thing in the FA Cup. It might now be, because of the Wembley semis. It's losing a quarter-final the worst thing.
Yeah, it's a great point. Look, I'm personally one of those people that preferred it when the FA Cup semi-finals were in neutral grounds. But you're right, what an opportunity to get to Wembley.
Early touch for Sandy Bueno, and he will play in Kilman. Coventry in this 3-4-1-2 formation, which will involve Casey Palmer putting a lot of the pressure on Tommy Doyle, who likes to just sit in front of the 3 centre-halves. Wolves more than happy to try and play out from the back. They went with a back 4 for the game against Fulham last time out here, a nervy 2-1 win. But an excellent victory in the context of all of the injuries that they've been suffering with, and that is certainly going to have a major factor today, potentially. No Cunha, no Hwang, no Bellegarde, no Neto, still no Dawson either. So the subs bench, particularly as far as Wolves are concerned, very light in terms of experience. And here's Mario Lemina, former Coppa Italia finalist, through the centre circle. Kilman just trying to stiff one over the top, but it was overhit. That goes out of play for a goal kick that will be taken by Brad Collins away to our left-hand side. It's Wolves 0, Coventry 0. You're with Game Day Live, 90 seconds in on Talksport.
With the way that Wolves play with that back three, Semedo on the right, though, will probably tuck a little deeper. And I watched them as they warmed up. They warmed up as a four. Totti, Bueno, Kilman and Semedo. Aït-Nouri went to do some shooting practice. Aït-Nouri is a key player, actually, since he's come back from injury and the AFCON. He's been excellent on that left-hand side, and he will properly make those runs, a bit like Udogie does for Tottenham, right through the middle of the pitch at times.
He scored his first goal in more than a year, and has come back against Fulham last weekend. There's no foul on Ellis Sims near the edge of the Wolves penalty area, and the hosts can easily play out from the back here with the bleached hair of Totti working it forward through the midfield. Well won back by the retreating Hadji Wright. And the American international, just as he was waiting to survey his options, he looked to try and pick out Van Ewijk, but then had the ball taken off his toes in the midfield. Wolves trying to play out, and successfully doing so from inside their own penalty area, but it all looked a little bit fractious and frantic on occasion, but they got it out no problem at all, inviting the press, and Doyle will lay it back for Sandy Bueno to be able to bring the ball forward.
Yeah, I think that is going to be a feature for Coventry, as Aït-Nouri's already in behind. Can he quite get there? No, it's just skidded on off the wet surface. But I think that is the feature, and maybe a reason why Palmer will play that role is as they go to play out. I watched him in that last exchange. He's just waiting for the right pass, and then he pops out of that position and goes to close down. And Wolves and the midfield players, Tommy Doyle in particular, just got to be aware of that.
You're listening to Wolves against Coventry in the FA Cup. It's live on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. Aït-Nouri doing really well from a defensive perspective there to win it back. And then Doyle helping it forward. Tommy Doyle loaned to Sheffield United this time last year, where he scored the winning goal in the quarter-final as the Blades beat Blackburn. I'm hoping that lightning will strike twice. Coventry get a free kick and take it too quickly for referee Barrett. And Van Ewijk not happy with that. The Dutchman thought that he might have been in down the right-hand side and past Aït-Nouri. So they have to retake it back near halfway, and Eccles will stand over this for Coventry City. I mentioned earlier, there's not a single player in this Coventry side that has ever reached this stage of the competition before. Mark Robbins, the manager, has never managed this deep into the cup, albeit that he had that success as a player beyond here. Substitute in the first match in the 1990 final when Manchester United were held by Palace. It didn't feature in the replay, which Lee Martin's goal won. Dates us all the fact that that was 34 years ago. Here's Van Ewijk. Square through the midfield here for Eccles. Hadji Wright drops off. It's been an assured start for Coventry. 10 yards outside the penalty area. It's worked down towards Van Ewijk. Wright will continue his run, maybe just straight into an offside position. Van Ewijk can get it across. Defensive header from João Gomez. Lanny Bodie airfall from centre half trying to take it on, and then Doyle did well, get it away from him, and then past Van Ewijk, turns it neatly back for Aït-Nouri, and that was excellent play by Tommy Doyle.
Yeah, excellent. If he's going to play that deeper role, he will have to defensively be smart in the positions that he picks up and make sure that he tracks runners. He was very calm as well, wasn't he, on the ball once he did intercept.
So Wolves playing 3-4-2-1 against Coventry's 3-4-1-2. They've got Mario Lemina up with Sarabia in support of Nathan Fraser. He's only 18, the Irishman, leading the line for Wolves. Made his full Premier League debut this weekend. It's a massive game for him. I wonder whether it's an easier game to play as an 18-year-old than maybe as a 20-year-old with the same amount of miles on the clock. When maybe you're just feeling the big match occasion that little bit more. Aït-Nouri with a really poor challenge on Van Ewijk is going to be the first player to have his name taken.
Yeah, he just totally committed himself there, Ryan Aït-Nouri. Been a good start from Coventry, especially down this right-hand side. Van Ewijk just too quick there for Aït-Nouri, and now he's got to play so much more of the game with a yellow card. just going back to the point you made, I think of course, when you're young, you don't think of the negatives, you don't think of the fears. Yes, there's nerves there, of course there is, but you've not got any hangover from disappointments in the past. But at the same time, he's not going to be gifted anything from that Coventry back line. It's going to be a test for him.
Yeah, absolutely, playing against 3 men at centre half who've got 400 senior appearances between them. Fraser making just his 8th today. So Coventry, with this free kick, find themselves in a really good position. Casey Palmer stands over it, but Bidwell looks the favourite for a left-footed curler over a 3-man Wolves wall. Jose Sarr's happy that he's got that wall in the right place. He's actually just asking Aït-Nouri, who's on the end of the wall, to come in a little bit. It's going to be left actually for Palmer, right-footed, clipped in towards the far post. Header from Thomas, didn't get the purchase he wanted. Comes back outside the area again. Palmer driving it in, right attacking it. And Wolves had enough bodies back. Kilman got the touch to steer it away from Haji Wright. And the first corner of the day goes Coventry City's way.
Oh, it was a vital touch, and he was the only one really that was alive to that second ball, Kilman. He switched on right away. Haji Wright tried to get in front. Kilman diving away to flick it off the top of his head to make sure it went up and over the crossbar. It's a great ball from Casey Palmer too.
So it's been a good start for Coventry. And they have the first corner. It's going to be a right-footed in-swinger from Josh Eccles. Laddie Baudier making a run in towards the near post. Works short in the end, and Aït-Nouri volleys it away. Bidwell trying to clip it in. It's not the best delivery from him. The Wolves get it clear to halfway, no further. Ben Sheaf, that's a wonderful pass from him. Back out towards the Coventry left, level with the edge of the penalty area. Right-footed in-swing, a good header away from the Wolves captain, Kilman. Back out of the left touchline again, where Casey Palmer's going to be able to pick it up. And Palmer will go back towards halfway for Bobby Thomas, the young former Burnley defender. Laddie Baudier to Palmer, Van Awijk. Laddie Baudier continues his run forward, but couldn't get the ball into his stride. Toddy, Lamina, and now Doyle able to work their way out through the midfield. Fraser's done well to hold it up. He's played the way that he was facing. Joao Gomez takes it on. Round one challenge, tries to beat a second. Couldn't find Fraser. And Thomas has done enough to be able to mop up and get it back to his goalkeeper. But it's Coventry playing like the home team at the moment, Dean. They've been very proactive and taking the game to Wolves in the opening 9 minutes.
Oh, good little turn from Casey Palmer.
And he'll play it forward, out of the left. And right on the left-hand side of the penalty area is able to pick it up. Sims in the middle for him. Haji Wright's pull back really poor. Bidwell had taken up an unmarked position on the edge of the box, but they couldn't get it to him. And Semedo is able to bring it forward and out from the back and find Doyle.
Yeah, they've made a start like a team that knows Wolves haven't got their main men, and that's why I talked about that 10-20 yards. He can step up the pitch. Fraser's good with his back to goal, but he's not got that genuine pace that's going to frighten you. And Sarabi is going to have to do a job today. He's going to have to work very hard to try and support Fraser. If you leave him up there on his own, he will just get bullied.
Well, that's a wonderful switch from Sarabia, and expertly controlled by the stretching Aït-Nouri. Ball in from him was teasing, and it took a spiteful little bounce about 8 yards out, but well played by Brad Collins, the former Chelsea Academy keeper, got his hands behind it before Fraser got there, and it remains 0-0 with 10 gone on Talksport.
Yeah, fantastic crossfield pass, brilliant first time touch from Aït-Nouri. Got his head up, he only had Fraser in there. He still attempted the cross, hoping that his forward could get there. Too far away from him, but that's the issue if you're only going to have one in there.
Well, Brad Collins allowed to have the ball in his hands for 20 seconds or so there before launching it forward. Here's Sims, who scored a hat-trick against Maidstone in the last round, heading it down towards Haji Wright, but it didn't get there. Semedo won it back, and Wolves will quickly venture forward into Coventry territory. Semedo's ball in, headed away by Thomas on the edge of the 6-yard box, out towards Wright. Sprightly turn from him to take Kilman out of the picture. Quick little 1-2 between Wright and Palmer, and then Sheaf goes back for Kitching, and Coventry string the passes together back inside their own half of the field. They've scored 16 FA Cup goals this season, Coventry. 4, a 5 and a 6 in this cup run. And they've scored more goals than any other side from the first round onwards. They'll score another one today. It will break a long-standing club record for the number of goals scored in individual FA Cup campaign by the Sky Blues, which was set back in the 1960s. Toddy's in possession. Now plays it back towards the edge of his own penalty area for Santi Bueno, the Uruguayan international who's now started 4 of the 5 FA Cup ties Wolves have played this season. 4 from João Gomes. Out of the Wolves' right-hand side. Semedo making a good run forward. Sarabia comes back infield. Doyle. Aït-Nouri on halfway. Sky Blues players drawn towards the ball. Here's Doyle flicking it into space. Aït-Nouri making a run into a more central area, so Lamina goes outside in wide. Mario Lamina taking it down towards the corner flag, turns, lays it back for Doyle. Clever touch from Doyle, knowing who was where. And Lamina comes onto it. It's a little back heel flick on the half turn. João Gomes now. Reverse ball for Aït-Nouri. Left-hand side of the penalty area. And he's left the defender on his backside, but the pullback not quite good enough to find Sarabia. It's put behind for a Wolves corner, but that really was Wolves at their free-flowing best.
Yeah, it was. 1 and 2 touch play. Lovely reverse pass from João Gomes into Aït-Nouri. Latibeaudière completely committed himself. He's probably a little bit lucky that Aït-Nouri is very, very honest, because some others, I'll include myself, would have maybe used that slide tackle to their advantage.
Could have initiated the contact when he would have been able to read it from a long way out. Aït-Nouri electing instead to try and keep the ball on his feet. Now players stopped here before the corner could be taken because there's a problem for Wolves goalkeeper Jose Sarr. And he is lying about 10 yards outside his penalty area, on his back, just being treated. He was sitting up until the medical staff got there and they just asked him to lie down. Oh, he's just having his legs stretched out. This will be a source of real concern. What it does give is Gary O'Neill the opportunity to get his iPad out and draw a few shapes and show a few illustrations to the Wolves players who are very quickly converging on him for a little bit of in-game instruction.
Yeah, good chance for O'Neill to get some bits on, like we talked about earlier. Did they listen? That's the question.
Well, possibly orchestrating exactly which of the set pieces he wants them to take this time.
Yeah, great point.
Jose Sarr's okay, he's back on his feet. Dan Bentley, the substitute goalkeeper, has been out warming up, but is making his way down to the Wolves dugout again now. 14 gone, it's 0-0 here on Talksport as Tommy Doyle goes across to take this corner. Aït-Nouri showing for the short one. Totti waits by the penalty spot. Fraser's in the 6-yard box. 4 more Wolves players near the edge of the penalty area. Corner unsurprisingly works short. Sarabia bends it in, and is Sims there to head it away. And Van Ewijk, getting on the end of that header, will be able to drive forward on the counter-attack. Semedo, the player he's taking on, still he goes, Van Ewijk. He's in the Wolves penalty area. Semedo's won possession back, went shoulder to shoulder with him, brings it out of the box, then felt he was fouled, and play continues as Ben Sheaf and Haji Wright win it back for Coventry. Right near the edge of the penalty area, Palmer trying to turn it back round the corner for Wright's run. They couldn't do so. Fraser back defending, got a vital touch. But João Gomes has inadvertently given it away. Palmer tries to play it forward. Santi Bueno can, and now Toddy will get it out towards Aït-Nouri. The game being played at a really good tempo. As Aït-Nouri goes down. And Toddy venturing forward from the back for Wolves, but not quite with the same conviction that Van Ewijk did at the other end a minute or so ago. And Coventry have won that back, and now Palmer plays it forward as Sims will chase. He's got a pace advantage over Kilman. Kilman had enough of a start to get there first. Sims wins it back on the left-hand touchline. No support for him until Palmer arrives on the edge of the box. Right-footed effort from him. Hit Bueno. Comes back out for Van Ewijk. Stood up towards Sims at the far post and headed away by Kilman. And Coventry still continue to ask some decent questions going forward. Haji Wright's got it again and whistles one across the face of the goal, but some way wide. 0-0.
Yeah, terrific. Couple of counter-attacks from Coventry. Sims couldn't quite get on the end of a Casey Palmer pass, but then once it went back in to Haji Wright, he then cut inside onto his right foot into the penalty area, looking for that far corner. No bend on the ball whatsoever. 2 straight.
Has got 3 in his last 3 games, the American international, including 2 at Watford last weekend, which is a second successive win for Coventry since they booked this FA Cup quarter-final by beating Maidstone. They lost at West Brom, a night where they didn't really get going. then beat Rotherham handsomely. Ellis Sims scoring a hat-trick, his second in quick succession. And they won at Watford last weekend, so arrived here in good form. They've also scored 47 in their last 19 games, which is 2.5 a game as near as makes no difference. Wolves have got possession on halfway over on the far touchline, which is their right as they kick from right to left. They're right in front of the lower tier of Coventry supporters over on that far side. It's Sandy Bueno. Play forward by Totti to the bearded Aït-Nouri, but his first touch let him down, and then his second he was forced to give Van Ewijk a shove. Now, he's got to be careful just in terms of persistent infringing, because he's the one player that's already picked up a yellow card.
Yeah, it's a good job it was just a little shove and not a pullback from Aït-Nouri. Well, he's got his work cut out because Ladebruyere is looking to push high up and support Van Ewijk. Try and double up on Aït-Nouri.
Liam Kitchings, the Coventry player, in possession. And it's clipped forward by him, but easily won back by Totti. And a little bit of space now in the midfield for Tommy Doyle, and he'll go out towards Nelson Semedo. 17 gone, 0-0 between Wolves and Coventry here on Talksport. And the South Wales derby has just kicked off. It's live for you right now over on Talksport 2. As again, we bring you a choice of listening. The Liberty Stadium, Swansea against Cardiff. You've got the Talksport app. You can easily swipe left and swipe right and keep abreast of all of the salient moments from both games as they unfold. Also keep up to date with the National League game between Oldham and Chesterfield, where a Chesterfield win takes them to the brink of a place back in the league. Wolves on the front foot here. Good ball out towards the right-hand side of the penalty area. Lemina trying to pull it back towards Aït-Nouri, and Eccles clears his lines very gratefully and puts it out of play for a Wolves throw, only about 6 or 7 yards from the corner flag.
Yeah, powerful run, wasn't it, from Lemina, past Hadji Wright, and then even cut it back to Aït-Nouri. Brilliant defensive block in the end there from Thomas.
Doyle. Now Sandy Bueno on halfway. Not a seat to be had here. They sell out more than 31,500. About 4,500 have made the journey across the West Midlands from east to west here in the Black Country. It's the first of 4 FA Cup quarterfinals for you over the course of the weekend, and with the only national radio station that will bring you all 4. Manchester City's quest for the double treble continues against Newcastle later. And that game kicking off at 5:30, and tomorrow we'll be talking about it a fair bit. Leicester go to Chelsea before Manchester United meet Liverpool in the FA Cup tie. You can't hear anywhere else on national radio. It's a 3:30 kickoff here on Talksport tomorrow. And this one, Aït-Nouri's just been fouled by Ladebruyere, and it's a free kick which will be taken on the left-hand side by Totti. He's causing problems, John Ladebruyere, with his movement. One-time Manchester City academy player who began to make his name at Swansea, but he will push forward and take up some advanced attacking positions. It's giving him plenty to think about.
Yeah, it means that Bidwell on the left-hand side he's not advancing particularly high. He's then tucking in alongside Kitching, and Thomas will shuffle across to just cover that space. Means Ladebruyere can really go and even under or overlap Van Ewijk. The game has just now really settled, hasn't it? It's a really good tempo though. Without Wolves, again, difficult without having those players that you know as soon as you win the ball, within 2 passes you can be at the opposition. You might have to work it slightly differently today in through that strong midfield. It is a strong midfield 3 though for Wolves in Doyle, Gomez and Lemina.
And Ladebruyere takes a throw, drops it short towards Ben Sheaf. It's interesting actually that Coventry are playing this way round at the back, because the last couple of games when they played with a back 3, Ladebruyere has been in the middle and Thomas has played on the right of the 3, but those two are the other way round today. They will often flatten off to a back 4 with Van Ewijk high up, and Bidwell pushing forward now on the left-hand side. Wolves bring it away, then play it through the midfield. Sarabia, excellent crossfield ball. Totti is able to come onto it. And Totti driving forward now. Sarabia into the feet of Mario Lemina. Lemina's ball out towards Aït-Nouri. Scooped in with the outside of the left boot. And Sarabia making a run around the side of Thomas. Stretched out the left foot, but he couldn't get any contact on it. And he goes through to the hands of Coventry keeper Brad Collins, 0-0.
That was almost a sensational pass and goal from Wolves. Aït-Nouri stood still on this left-hand side, just got his head up, and with just a tiny backlift of his left foot, outside of the left foot, in towards Sarabia, who'd made a clever run, who just couldn't quite get any contact on it.
Here's Max Kilman winning it back on halfway for Wolves. These two sides have actually met in an FA Cup quarter-final in the past. It was 51 years ago tomorrow. John Richards and Kenny Hibbert, two Wolves legends, scoring the goal that day. Wolves won it here by 2-0 in front of a crowd of more than 50,000. Coventry knocked Wolves out in their only other FA Cup meeting. That was a third-round tie, went to a second replay in 1984. But it's 20 years since the last one here at Molineux, and a Gary McSheffrey goal was enough. They've not won in their 5 visits since then. It was actually the first time they've been here in a decade. João Gomes has got it now for Wolves. Kilman coming onto it. Semedo outside him. Kilman making his way forward, left-footed, fires it inside the penalty area, and it's easily claimed by Collins. What have you made of Fraser's performance so far in the opening quarter of this game, Dean?
He looks a little bit like physically the others have got the better of him. That can be always difficult when you're a young player yet to develop physically. And it's meant that every time the ball's gone up there, he's been out-muscled, he's not won a header. I mean, look, he's not getting loads of support, he's just got to try and be patient, keep making those runs into the box.
Wolves with an opportunity to break for a moment. It's 3 against 3, but they were a long way out. Coventry got their shake back behind the ball, and then Sheaf's going to be able to bring it away here. Back into Wolves territory, he gave it away, just trying to play the ball slightly behind square for Casey Palmer, just passed it straight to João Gomes. And it's error-strewn, the stakes are high. They talked about the lack of experience on one side, the lack of several established big hitters on the other. But it certainly has seen the odd mistake as the game has developed. Just added a little edge to it. We are just past the midway stage of the first half. Extra time and maybe penalties on the agenda if necessary. Wolves 0, Coventry 0 the score. Doyle laying it off for Totti. Back for Santi Bueno. A rare outing for him. He has featured extensively in the Cup, but it's only the 9th game he's played since his move to the Black Country. Mario Lemina doing well, taking a touch. His second worked it out wide. Aït-Nouri couldn't find a way past Ladi Baudier, and there was just a little collision between the pair of them once the ball had gone. Aït-Nouri pulled away, wincing. Ladi Baudier just goes to the ground, and he's giving his left thigh and knee a rub.
Yeah, he just took a loose touch there, Aït-Nouri, and Ladi Baudier was close enough just to quickly dive in. There was contact between the two, nothing, a little high five between the two, and they move on. But when they move it quickly through midfield and switch it, Wolves, that's where they are looking rather dangerous.
A possession in Wolves' favour, mid-60s to mid-30s. Neither side have had a shot on target so far. Coventry have had 2 attempts and Wolves only 1. Flags on the top of the steep ball stand over on the far side are billowing a little. It's breezy. The breeze at Wolves' backs at the moment. There's Doyle, who works it wide out towards Nelson Semedo. Semedo with nearly 140 Wolves games behind him now. Plays it back towards Max Kilman. Now the Wolves captain works it through the midfield. João Gomes straight back for Kilman again. Kilman taking a touch now to Doyle. Doyle going back inside his own half. Kilman happy just to saunter and shuffle back towards the edge of his own penalty area. Lays it back for Jose Sarr, who's not shown any ill effects of the injury that he picked up about 10 minutes or so ago. He gets a return ball here from Toddy. Wolves happy just to pass it about and get Coventry to do some chasing. Kilman inside the box. 4 from him. Sarabia with an opportunity to turn. As he does so, he suddenly finds himself in 5 or 6 yards of space. Toddy coming forward. Lemina outside here. Toddy will just drop the shoulder, take Van Ewijk out of it. Aït-Nouri away from Sheaf to Mario Lemina, who ostensibly is playing on the left-hand side of the front 3 here for Wolves at the moment. Toddy back for Doyle. Doyle on halfway. They're back inside their own half again for Bueno. And Doyle once more just slows things down and surveys his options.
Yeah, as soon as Wolves have the ball, Lemina is going out to the left and he's interchanging with Aït-Nouri. Aït-Nouri's in effectively a number 10 position right now, and it's Lemina that's really wide. They just need to switch it quicker as they're trying to do now, but that's not a very good ball.
No, Semedo that tried to pick Lemina out. Van Ewijk coming back. He's nodded it down towards his own dead ball line and then had to hastily scamper after it before hooking his right foot around to put it out of play for a throw. Throw which has been taken quickly on the Wolves' left. Aït-Nouri, João Gomez, Doyle. And he'll make his way to within 15 yards of the edge of the Coventry penalty area. Max Kilman coming forward. Kilman, only a rare goal scorer, wanted to try his luck. It was a left-footed effort that hit Hadji right, bounces Lemina's way, and then Thomas sweeps up and puts it out for a throw on the Wolves' left. 0-0.
Yeah, it did open up for Kilman to take the strike, well blocked. So much of Wolves' decent play so far has been down this left-hand side with Lemina coming across. I'd say Lemina and Aït-Nouri are their two most attacking players. Sarabia is actually playing deeper. I mean, Semedo again has gone into a right wing position and Sarabia right wing back.
So much fluidity in any Gary O'Neill side. Close within an inch of their lives. A very popular man amongst the players and staff. And Fraser waiting for a pullback here. It's taken just off his toes. Aït-Nouri, Lemina snatched at it and hit it with the outside of his right boot well wide. His head still in his hands. Can't believe that he didn't hit the target, but it was all conjured up by Semedo. Great run forward from him, and he did well to get in past Kitching. Got it inside the 6-yard box, pulled it back for Fraser. Vital touch, steered it away from him. And somehow Aït-Nouri and Lemina couldn't make the most of the loose pickings after that.
Yeah, ridiculous defending from Kitchen. He's just got to clear that. Just put it out for a throw-in when you're under that sort of pressure. He then gets the ball taken off him by Semedo, who does brilliantly at the byline, and he's just looking to cut it back. And Bobby Thomas does brilliantly because he shows him the space to pass it, and as soon as he does, he then just nips in and gets a tiny touch on it to take it away from Aït-Nouri, and then Lemina rounded the move off with a horrendous sliced volleyed attempt.
But that little touch from Bobby Thomas was all it took. Really good defending. João Gomez down towards Totti. Aït-Nouri turning in the midfield. Eccles stopping his immediate progress, but it was an excellent turn by the Algerian. Didn't lose possession and brought the Gabonese Mario Lemina into it. A high ball fall from him to the right-hand side of the penalty. It pulled back for Semedo, whose effort stings the palms of goalkeeper Collins at the near post. Straight at him though, really, and clear. But it's been a good couple of minutes for Wolves, and the crowd beginning to believe.
Yeah, brilliant ball from Lemina over the top for Sarabia. All the Coventry defenders all retreated to their goal.
There's Tommy Doyle, Aït-Nouri, and cleared by Eccles.
But then when it fell to Semedo, he's got to do far better as he won it back.
Fraser's done really well. Semedo's got it here. Chips it inside the penalty area. It was over Fraser, then Ladi Baudier, very calm, chested it with a little bit more pace than he intended, wide of his goalkeeper Collins, but he was able to scramble and make a diving save, stop the ball going out of play for a corner played. Half an hour, it's 0-0 between Wolves and Coventry, but although it started as a bit of a slow burner, it's getting some intensity now. Here's the former England international and FA Cup goal scorer Dean Ashton.
Yeah, Wolves have been much better, haven't they, the last 10 minutes. They've controlled the game. They've started to work the patterns of play where the two wide players interchange with midfield players just to get the space.
Ben Sheaf's done well to win it back for Coventry. Challenge on João Gomez. Casey Palmer's got it now. Twice gave it to Hadji Wright, who could not have administered the return pass more quickly. Wright bringing it forward. Bidwell back to him. Now Palmer. This is all around 20 yards outside the Wolves penalty area. Wolves defending diligently with their three centre-halves. And Semedo dropping back to be a fourth body to keep an eye on Hadji Wright. Coventry still have it, but have been forced all the way back towards halfway. Sheaf, Thomas, in towards the feet of Ladi Baudier. It ricocheted after a challenge. Kitching sends a high up and under. Totti should easily be able to deal with that. Mario Lemina volleys it forward. Bidwell stepped ahead of Sarabia to head the ball through the midfield. It's got a little bit scrappy again. Wolves punt it forward into Coventry territory. And then Bidwell's defensive header will be rescued by Kitching under no pressure, down by his own corner flag, and he can survey his options and bring it forward upfield.
Some proper Route 1 stuff, that. Just whack it and hope somebody gets ahead on it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there isn't. No, I made a career out of it. It was... but what we've seen so far is actually really good play on the turf from both sides.
I mentioned earlier there's a big game in the National League today at Boundary Park. Oldham against Chesterfield. Chesterfield 23 points clear, and they're up today if they win, and Barnet don't win at Woking later, but the Spireites are behind to a James Norwood penalty. Oldham 1, Chesterfield 0, and the Latics themselves up into the playoff places, certainly temporarily, if they avoid defeat. They lead Chesterfield 1-0. And of course, with 10 games to go in the Premier League and the EFL, so many games of such huge significance, and Adrian Durham will be talking through the action, all the goals as they happen throughout the course of the afternoon here on Talksport. Mario Lemina claiming he should have had a free kick. Coventry able to get it away with Collins finding Palmer. He lost it very quickly. And Sarabia to the right-hand side of the area for Joao Gomez. First cross not the best, and it's cleared easily enough down the left-hand side by Eccles. Now Luddy Bodier is going to be able to stride forward. Comes over the halfway line. Hadji Wright ahead of him. So do Van Ewijk on the right-hand side. Sims attacking the far post. Crucial touch from Semedo to hook it out of his flight path. Then Totti and then Doyle can both clear. Fraser battling but losing out to the taller and more well-built Bobby Thomas marking him. And Coventry have it back. And they'll play down towards Van Ewijk again. Level with the edge of the Wolves penalty area. It's 0-0, 12 to go to half-time. Low cross coming in across the edge of the 6-yard box. Not particularly perceptive one. Kilman clears it. And it goes out of play for a throw, which will be taken on the Coventry right.
Outstanding cross from Van Ewijk. Outstanding defending from Semedo. To clear that, not only to clear it, but to clear it away from goal with the outside of his right foot, with Sims or Hadji Wright just in and around him, was brilliant. Van Ewijk, though, he can ask the question, come on, that's 3 or 4 fantastic balls I've put in now, and no one's got on the end of it.
Van Ewijk playing the 200th game of his career today. The Dutchman, former Heerenveen player who reached the quarterfinals of the Dutch Cup last season, hoping for a better result today than he got that day. Nathan Fraser's offside here as Sarabia worked it forward for him. First offside of the day, I think, and it's a free kick which will be taken by Coventry about 15 yards inside their own half. Got 10 minutes to go to half-time, just a little bit more than that. And the first half's not going to be extended as things stand right now by too much. It's Wolves 0, Coventry 0, the most significant moment of the game still very much lying ahead of us.
Yeah, Nathan Fraser is like a pinball, bless him. He's just getting bounced from one centre-back to the other, yet to really be able to get into the game.
Here's Hadji Wright at the other end, trying to get it onto his favoured right foot. Low ball in from him, hit Tommy Doyle, it breaks for Palmer, good save, Jose Sarr on the follow-up, Bidwell, Sims, he's missed from 5 yards. Goalkeeper was out of the picture. All he had to do was open up his right foot and steer it into the empty net, and he's drilled it at the goalkeeper. It's an astonishing miss, and it should be Wolves 0, Coventry 1.
Unforgivable. You can't miss that chance at this level. I'm sorry, you cannot. That is just the simplest of side foots into the back of the net if you're ready for it. And that's the problem. He wasn't, which I can't understand why, because Bidwell is about to cross it to you. I just don't understand how he's not ready just to side foot that in and hit his heel and was actually going wide. I know it hit Sarr. That's a terrible miss.
There's Semedo on the right-hand side of the penalty area winning a corner for Wolves. That's a moment that might haunt Ellis Sims as the afternoon goes on. Has been very hot and cold recently. He struggled in the league game at West Brom. He hit a hat-trick in the match before it and a match after it. But I don't know whether there's something about the Black Country air. That was a very forgettable moment for him that he's not going to be able to forget, if you see what I mean. Going to be a corner which will be taken on the Wolves' right. It's going to be a left-footed one, very deep. Fraser at the back post, trying to get up there, appeals for a handball. They're going to get another corner, nothing more than that, which Doyle will come across to take on the left. It was an excellent first save from Jose Sarr. He knew nothing about the second one. It's absolutely powerless if Sims had hit the target. It had to be 1-0.
Yeah, it was. It was an excellent save from Casey Palmer's strike. And palmed it out towards Bidwell, who puts it across, as he should do, for his striker. Says, there you go, get yourself a goal. Unforgivable. You just can't miss as a professional from there.
Ball comes in from the corner. It's flicked on the near post by Aït-Nouri, but no one at the far post can get the touch. And it drifts away and out of play for a goal kick. Wolves 0, Coventry 0, but the Molineux men will consider themselves to be pretty fortunate that is the case. We're just seeing a replay of it, and it's perhaps even worse than I first thought.
It gets worse every time you see it.
So the ball out, and it's a throw which will be taken over on the Wolves' right. 0-0 the score. 8 minutes to go to half-time. Live on Talksport across the United Kingdom and beyond, and also on Sirius XM FC. Very good morning to you if you've got up early for our live FA Cup action in North America, in the United States and Canada. I hope you've got a fantastic sporting weekend ahead of you, and it's our privilege to be able to bring you news of the FA Cup and all 4 FA Cup quarterfinals over the course of the weekend on Sirius XM FC, as well as here on Talksport. So the ball out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Wolves' left by Totti. 7 minutes to go to half-time. Wolves probably the better side over the whole piece. They've had more possession. Coventry should be ahead. Totti back for Doyle. Doyle to Kilman. Semedo. Semedo to Sarabia. And back for Nelson Semedo again, taking it towards the edge of the penalty area. Will check down by the corner flag and then win another corner, which is Wolves' 4th, their 3rd in quick succession.
Yeah, him and Aït-Nouri have been excellent. They've been the biggest threats in terms of getting down either flank and also underlapping and trying to get forward to help.
So Wolves again flooding the penalty area in the 6-yard box specifically this time, but it's easily headed away. Comes out for Doyle. Doyle nodding it back. Left-footed up and under from Semedo. Goes back out towards Sarabia, the corner taker on the Wolves' right. Again, a scrappy passage of play. Doyle has done well at some personal cost. He stayed down injured, holding his ankle, but he did well to win it back. Then played it towards Fraser, who set himself up for the spectacular scissor kick. Didn't get hold of it at all, and Coventry will be able to bring it away. Doyle's back on his feet, but here's Sims motoring forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Good ball for Van Ewijk, and Jose Sarr makes the save. Sims setting up the Dutchman. Another huge opportunity for Coventry on the counter-attack. Jose Sarr came out, made himself big, and hoped. And his prayers were answered.
No, it's another magnificent chance. Van Ewijk, brilliant from Sims, centre-forward play, getting on the half-turn, turning, driving at the defence, and then just playing it exactly the right time for Van Ewijk, who got away from Aït-Nouri. Takes a good touch to start with, but this is the difference between somebody who's used to scoring goals and who's not. He doesn't once look up. He doesn't once look where Jose Sarr is, because if he does, it's quite an easy finish of just lifting it slightly just to the left of the goalkeeper and it would be in. Instead, he just gets his head down and whacks it. It stings the inside of Sarr's thigh and skips over the top.
In comes the corner. And that's taking a touch, I think, of Sandy Bueno, and out for another one. It should be taken on the Coventry right-hand side this time. The first one came from the left. Oldham 2, Chesterfield 0 now in that game in the National League. Dan Gardner's doubled the lead.
Also, got to give credit to Sarr, how quickly he was out, the angle that he came at as well. Meant that he made the decision more difficult for Van Ewijk, but still, the top player there just guides that into the far corner rather than smacking it.
Bidwell to take this latest corner, left-footed in swinger, and Jose Sarr came through traffic, punched it emphatically away. Palmer forced to head it back towards halfway. Eccles with a real steepling up and under, which is eventually brought down in the midfield, and expertly so by Sheaf. Aït-Nouri goes out to the far touchline. Sheaf's past him, checks, gets it back onto his right foot. Comes through the midfield where Bloody Baudière is showing for him. And it's played down to the Coventry number 22 now. Van Ewijk. Bloody Baudière to right. Coventry giving a really good account of themselves. No breakthrough. They should have scored 2 in the last 5 minutes. There's Van Ewijk, guilty of missing the second of those. Perhaps a man that's only scored twice all season, not necessarily the player they wanted that chance to fall to, but he will be really disappointed. And his body language spoke volumes, as indeed did that of Ellis Sims before him. Coventry playing out from the back. It worked it back via the goalkeeper now from right out to the left. And here comes Bidwell finding Sheaf. Bidwell, arms above his head, just indicating he's in an offside position. Sheaf comes back in, maintains possession easily enough. It'll come in together in the midfield. That might have been retribution for the earlier collision between Sheaf and Doyle. It was the same 2 players again, but the other way round this time. Eccles has got it. Bloody Baudière comes forward. Van Ewijk in space on the Coventry right. He's faced up by Nelson Semedo. Van Ewijk works it back. Bloody Baudière with a hit and hope painting by numbers. Looping cross that Aït-Nouri could easily head away on the edge of his own penalty area. Aït-Nouri and Semedo just swap sides for a moment for Wolves. And Bidwell will come forward again to Casey Palmer. 2.5 to go to half time. It's 0-0. Coventry will feel that they should be ahead. Bloody Baudière trying to draw a challenge from João Gomes. Sheaf gets it inside the penalty area. Right attacks it. Sims for Palmer. And he's just volleyed a pass straight at the goalkeeper.
Yeah, another good chance. Just trying to side foot that, guide it into one of the corners. It was a decent ball in from Sheaf. Well challenged by Hadji Wright up against Santi Bueno. When it fell to Palmer, once again, a bit like Sims, it's hit the heel of the inside of his foot, which just takes all the power off it.
Chesterfield have one back at Oldham. It's 2-1 in that game that could take them to the brink of the return of the league. 0-0 here, 0-0 as well, live over on Talksport 2 right now in the South Wales derby between Swansea and Cardiff. Mario Lemina bring the ball forward for Wolves. He's level with the edge of the Coventry penalty area. Aït-Nouri with Josh Eccles snapping at his heels behind him, forcing him back. Wolves neatly play forward towards the edge of the box again, but Bloody Baudière has helped win it back, and then Bobby Thomas appeals for and gets the decision of a handball as he strikes the ball forward. Gary O'Neill will be a little concerned with the small C rather than a capital C perhaps, but his side have been okay pushing forward, but they have been unlocked with ease 2 or 3 times in the last 7 or 8 minutes. I think that will perturb him.
Yeah, also, he's not missing too many defensive players or midfield players, so you would expect defensively them to be pretty solid, which is why Coventry's chances, and they should be 2-0 ahead, really. It's more a case of, does he stick with Nathan Fraser up there, who's had no impact whatsoever, not particularly his fault, but also physically he doesn't look up to the challenge as yet, or does he maybe take him off, put Sarabia up there and put maybe Doherty on and move Semedo or Aït-Nouri into a more advanced role and try and really play into feet?
Well, he's got 2 other young strikers that he could call upon who haven't played a first team game for Wolves between them, who are on the bench. 18-year-old Leon Chiwomi and 19-year-old Fletcher Holman, who they signed from Eastbourne in the National League South about 6-8 weeks ago. Here's Aït-Nouri bringing the ball forward. Space for Mario Lemina, left-hand side of the area. Might be Fraser's moment. Can he bundle it in? He can't. Now we go into 2 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the first half, with the deadlock still intact.
Yeah, Lemina went for the far corner, then bounced off Sarabia's back into Fraser's path. It just wouldn't sit for him. It wouldn't get to the height that was there to be hit. And he just looks so tired when he actually gets there because of the physicality he's having to exude to push defenders off and get into the area. It's amazing once you step up how physically difficult it can be, and he just looked tired there, not able to adjust his body.
Listen, everybody's different, Dean, but you were playing first team football as a very young man, younger than Fraser is now. How long does it take you? How many miles do you have to get in the clock before you're up at that level as you want to be?
Well, a lot depends on how quickly, obviously, your body can physically develop to cope with how you don't realise how strong these players are until you come up against them. You know, and that just takes time. I would say 2 seasons before I felt comfortable, and I had many days where I probably looked and felt like Fraser is right now. But you've just got to, as a young player, keep making the runs, keep trying to believe in yourself and hope that chance falls for you, and then it's about whether you can take it.
Yeah, and I guess it's never going to be a steady curve either. You're going to have off days, you're going to have days where you feel great and everything's going your way and you think that you're making progress, and then you'll have bad days on the back of that and it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but you're hoping that they are in that proportion rather than the other way around. Here's João Gomes as we've ended the last 10-15 seconds of the first half. Sarabia trying to get the ball forward. Totti's going to be able to pick it up on halfway. As Sam Barrett looks at his watch, and the referee just allowing play to continue for a little while longer yet. Ait Nouri, left-hand side of the area, and fizzes the ball in. Too long for Fraser, and then Semedo, unmarked, right-hand side of the area, couldn't bring it under control and work it back. That's the last action of the first half. Took a little bit of time to get going in a vibrant atmosphere for this West Midlands derby. Coventry spurning 2 glorious opportunities, and the one from Ellis Sims was a moment he will never want to see again, but he missed it. Van Ewijk couldn't take a subsequent chance, and we get to half-time at Wolves 0, Coventry 0.
Jim Proudfoot, thank you very much indeed. The players are heading off down the tunnel for half-time. Some of the fans are as well. And I tell you what, I'm still haunted by Ellis Sims's miss, let alone Ellis Sims himself, Dean Ashton.
Yeah, no, I could sense that to the side of me. Because it's just there. It's a gift. And, you know, you don't want to be too harsh. Of course you don't. But ultimately, as a professional striker, you cannot miss that chance.
He just looked like he didn't. It was almost as if he was't anticipating it coming, or he just wasn't looking the right way. He was looking to his left, wasn't he? Almost.
He was guilty of not being ready for a start, which, again, you can't
not be. Yeah.
In this position, and you know Bidwell's going to play it across, and even if he's not going to play it across, he's probably going to hit it, and you've got to be then set. Your body and your feet have got to be set, waiting for that to bounce off the goalkeeper. He wasn't set. So when it came to him quick, he just didn't adjust at all. He went to hit it with the inside of his foot. It hit his heel. You just can't miss. There's nothing else I can say other than you can't miss at this level. Can't. You can't. That's just, it's unforgivable.
Yeah, it's right in our line of vision as well. And the Jack Hayward stand, it's where the Wolves goal is, and it was like it happened in slow motion. That was the worst part. We were looking at it going, hang on a minute, this has got to go in. And I probably did this big yelp that I always do when players miss. 3 shots on target compared to Wolves with their 1 shot on target. That would tell you that Coventry have been progressive in their play, but a bit scrappy as well. It doesn't look like they're ever in control of it, and especially with those moments with Van Ewijk, with Ellis Sims as well. It's almost like they're not prepared. They're getting the opportunities, but they're almost not prepared.
Yeah, it's all a bit raw, isn't it, from Coventry's forwards, in terms of it doesn't flow. When Wolves get into those positions, it flows a bit better, doesn't it, with Ait Nouri and Lamina, Sarabia. But we're talking about a step up in quality. Yeah. That's why they are playing in the Championship and not in the Premier League at the moment. But they've been the better side in terms of the openings that they've created. They've had their 10-15 minute spells in the game where they've looked terrific, Coventry, and they should be 2-0 ahead. They've created 2 great chances. Yeah. What do you do as a manager? You've set your team up. They've created the 2 chances. They haven't taken them. He must be gutted, Mark Robins, because they've done the hard part. You would expect, reasonably well, and Wolves look like a team that haven't got their strikers. They do. They look like they haven't got a threat, and the centre-backs are pretty comfortable. Yeah,
and that's the thing. If you're Mark Robins, you're thinking, damn, how did that not happen? But if you're Gary O'Neill, is there a sense of relief almost? Yeah, there should be, because they're 2 just unbelievable chances. They should be behind, and they haven't created a wonderful opportunity themselves. So I just wonder whether he might do something in terms of the substitution. Maybe not half time, but after 10 minutes, because
they need to look more threatening, and whether that's you take off the inexperience and add experience and throw Sarabia further forward, Ain't Nori further
So
forward.
Nathan Fraser off, you think maybe this might be a bit too much for him?
Well, it is at the moment. It has been in the first half. That could be an option for Gary O'Neill rather than bringing on another inexperienced player.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be mulling over his options, as will Mark Robbins as well. It's been a great first half, actually, really lively, really entertaining, which means the second half should be very much the same because, of course, there is a place at Wembley on the line in the FA Cup semi-final. I can tell you both of these sides are desperate to reach it as well. Second half is coming up after this. Stay with us.
For one of these Midland sides, the dream will continue. Brighter still, just a win away from the final. Mina comes onto it, his little back heel flick on the half turn. Joao Gomez now, reverse ball for Ain't Nori, left hand side of the penalty area, and he's left the defender on his backside, but the pullback not quite good enough to find Sarabia. Low ball in from him, hit Tommy Doyle, it breaks for Palmer, good save, Jose Sarr on the follow-up. Bidwell holds Sims, he's missed from 5 yards.
Unforgivable. That's a terrible miss.
But here's Sims motoring forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Good ball for Van Ewijk, and Jose Sarr makes the save. And we get to half time at Wolves 0, Coventry 0.
Jim Proudfoot and Dean Ashton there. That is all thanks to Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
The Emirates FA Cup halftime highlights on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup and Adobe Women's FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
This is Game Day exclusive, or FA Cup Game Day, I should say, on Talksport. We're going to continue to look ahead to today's action with Super 6.
The Talksport Match Predictor with Super 6. The rollover is back this March. Predict 6 correct scores for the chance to win a massive £750,000. Get your entries in by 3 p.m. today with Super 6. 18 plus, terms and conditions apply.
Now, each week, as you know, as we hope you know, that we'll be discussing games that are featured within Super 6. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Super 6, it is a free-to-play football game where you can win huge jackpots through your own knowledge. Simply predict 6 correct scores to win the jackpot. The March rollover is back. So the Super 6 jackpot will roll over if it isn't won, meaning it could reach £1 million. How about that? Now this week it's £750,000, and even if you don't manage to get 6 correct scores, there are more ways to win, with a guaranteed 5k up for grabs every single round if you get the most points, and plenty more. Dean Ashton is alongside me. We're going to run through the final 3 games on the list, and we're going to start with our exclusive Talksport 2 commentary match. It's the Premier League game between Burnley and Brentford. It's at 3 p.m.
Only beaten Sheffield United at home this season, Burnley, and Brentford have now got Tony, Visser and possibly Mbeumo back as well. So I would expect Brentford to have too much attacking talent and to win 2-1. 2-1.
Still a narrow victory you predicted, despite that.
Yes,
so you think Burnley can score against them?
I do, and because Brentford aren't flying, that's for sure, but I still see them getting across the line.
Yep, okay. Well, this fixture has been the most popular prediction of the round, actually. Over 380,000 Super 6 players are predicting a 2-1 away win for Brentford at Turf Moor. Meanwhile, also at 3 o'clock today, Luton host Nottingham Forest. Oh my God, after what happened with Luton the other day and how beneficial that was for Nottingham Forest, what is your Super 6 prediction for that one?
Goals, probably. 46 goals in 9 games for Luton, as in the games that they've been involved in. It's just ridiculous. Every game just seems to be a ding-dong, and I expect pretty similar again. I'm going to go, though, for the bounce back from the disappointment midweek to win 3-1 against Nottingham Forest.
Ooh, okay, well, Adrian Durham is based at Kenilworth Road for Game Day Live. We'll be talking to him in just a second. And more than 580,000 Super 6 players are opting with that home win for the Hatters against Nottingham Forest. It's a crucial one in the relegation battle, that one. And finally, at 5:30 today in the Premier League, Fulham host Spurs.
Yeah, January 2011 was the last win that Fulham had at home versus Spurs, so they haven't got a very good record, and Spurs have got their big guns back and fit and firing with Son and Maddison and the like. So expect Spurs to win 4-1 because they never keep a clean sheet at the moment.
That's very true. Okay, well, a massive 89% of Super 6 players are expecting Spurs to get the win this evening. Burnley, of course, against Brentford is live on Talksport 2 this afternoon, while Adrian Durham will take you around the grounds here on Talksport at 3 o'clock. That is all thanks to Super 6, and don't forget Super 6 has set up its very own Talksport League. You can sign up on the Super 6 website or app using the code TALKS6, that is TALKS6, where you can also win £100 for topping the league every single round. And if you like playing Super 6, then head over to ITV7, where today there's a £50,000 jackpot up for grabs. You can simply pick 7 winners to win. It's completely free to enter via the ITV7 website or the app, and you've got to enter by 1:50 p.m. today, so not long to go for that one. And don't forget that you can get those Super 6 predictions in by 3 p.m. today as well. Of course, for all of those, 18+ terms and conditions apply.
The TalkSport Match Predictor with Super 6. The rollover is back this March. Predict 6 correct scores for the chance to win a massive £750,000. Get your entries in by 3 p.m. today with Super 6. 18+ terms and conditions apply.
As I said, Adrian Durham is at Kenilworth Road for Luton against Nottingham Forest. Such a huge game, this one, Adrian. How are you doing, by the way, at Kenilworth Road?
All good, it's bright and breezy, but happy to be here. And you're right, what a gigantic game. By the way, before we go on about Luton Forest, somebody needs to ask Dean Ashton about his time as a professional on a certain TV show, trying to score penalties, trying to hit the crossbar, trying to hit volleys. It didn't go well for Dean. So when he's criticising Ellis Sims' miss, needs to have a long, hard look in the mirror first, Dean Ashton.
Ouch, Dino. What have you got to say to that? I mean, that's just hitting you where it hurts.
Adrian knows when it counts and the goal bonuses are on the line, I deliver.
So if they'd offered you another tenner, you'd have scored them. Right, okay.
Yeah, basically.
Understood.
Exactly.
That's the only reason, isn't it? I mean,
he knows I'm joking.
Come on. But yeah, joking. Oh my God. I mean, to be honest, I'm still reeling from that miss, because it was, as I said at half time, it really was like watching it in slow motion, so I still don't really know how that happened.
Do you know what, Reshmi? I was listening to Jim Proudfoot talk earlier about the magic moments of the FA Cup and the memories that are made. It's also things like that where there's misses as well. But I think this season generally, not just the FA Cup, it's been absolutely full of amazing moments. And I was up Bournemouth midweek for Luton's 3-0 up, 4-3 defeat. And I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. I
couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was doing Champions League that night, and I kept looking at my phone thinking, hey, what? You know,
that's what it was like in the ground, I promise you. Nobody could believe it. But I think that, listen, when all's said and done, I was thinking you've got to question Rob Edwards here, because he didn't change anything until it was 3-3. Now, Bournemouth made 2 subs at half-time, so I was thinking, you've got to question Rob Edwards. What was he doing on the touchline? Then you're thinking, that's a little bit harsh, bearing everything in mind. But then he says himself in the programme, I felt sorry and responsible for the defeats. We've got no alternative but to try and learn from our mistakes as a staff. So he's basically placing the whole blame on him. And he did just stand there watching it all unravel in front of him. So they've got to put that right today, because this is a huge one against Forest.
Yeah, it is a huge one, because look at where they both are in the table. I mean, Luton could have got out of the relegation places. Of course, the game you were watching against Bournemouth, had they, kind of secured that victory and not imploded in the way that they did. And I'm sure Nottingham Forest fans were watching with bated breath, hoping that wasn't the case. And in the end, that's exactly how it turned out to be. I mean, there's only a place between them in the table, but there's 3 points as well. So in terms of that safety net, and it's a safety net with big holes in it, but Nottingham Forest are the ones that have it at the moment.
They are. 3 straight league defeats for them, though. The last 3 games, away games rather, of the season are interesting. They go to Everton, go to Burnley, go to Sheffield United. So you're either thinking, well, they're 6-pointers, or they're games that Forest have a real good chance of winning. So Luton's run is not good at all. And you kind of fear for them. They've got to go to Man City in April. Next 2 games are at Spurs and at Arsenal. Big problems for Luton Town, and I think that defeat midweek might have taken the stuffing out of them, but this is the big test. It's not always the setbacks, it's how you respond to them.
Absolutely, it's the mental whether there's mental fragility or they come back and bounce back. And looking at the bottom 3, Burnley Brentford, that's live on Talksport 2. Do you give, in terms of the relegation battle, just quickly, any hope for Vincent Kompany's side?
No, none at all.
None at all.
won one of 14 at home this season, as Dean was saying. It's a shocking, truly shocking record when you bear in mind they only lost one in 23 in the whole of last season at Turf Moor. I know it's a different division, and that's what Vincent Company's put it down to, but that's a shocking stat. This should be there for the taking for Brentford, but if it isn't, if Burnley do get the win, Brentford have got problems.
Yeah, goodness. So much at stake everywhere. Adrian Durham, thank you very much. So much at stake here at Molineux as well. They've just kicked off for the second half, and it's time to hand you back to our commentary team, Dean Ashton, but first Jim Proudfoot.
And Coventry in sky blue, kick from right to left, in possession from the kick-off with Ben Sheaf. Back for Bobby Thomas. And now out towards the right-hand side for Van Ewijk. Coventry will be heartened by the last 15 minutes of that first half, where they had those two glorious opportunities to break the deadlock and get themselves ahead in this tie. Wolves know defensively they've got to improve from that. Here's Sarabia as a good challenge in on him from Bidwell that's left Sarabia on the ground. The referee allowing play to continue. Wolves have got possession. Ball's at the feet of Joao Gomez, and he stops because he can see that Sarabia is writhing around in pain. That gives us an opportunity to have a look at the two teams. Jose Sarr in goal for Wolves. Kilman, Sandy Bueno and Toddy. Semedo, Joao Gomez, Doyle and Aït-Nouri. Then Sarabia, Fraser and Mario Lemina are front three really most of the time for Wolves. Coventry, when they've had possession, have gravitated into a back four. It's Laddie Baudier, Thomas, Kitching and Bidwell. Eccles and Sheaf, Van Ewijk, Palmer and Wright, with Ellis Sims playing through the middle. And no changes in personnel ahead of this second half. Neither there nor here, so Dean Ashton still alongside us.
That was a painful one, though, for Sarabia. Bidwell just putting his toe right into the calf of Sarabia.
Wolves taking the free kick, played for by Aït-Nouri. He's touched a little bit heavy, and Bobby Thomas can watch it out of play for a goal kick that'll be taken by Brad Collins, who's been first choice from mid-November onwards. This is the first time that he's played in this FA Cup run, which has seen them put 6 past Oxford, 4 past Sheffield Wednesday in a replay, 5 past Maidstone with an Ellis Sims hat-trick. And as I mentioned, that's given them 16 goals this season, which is the best of any side from round 1 onwards. Now, back in mid-November, they were down in the bottom 5 of the Championship. But they've had the 4th best record in that division since then, winning 3 times as many as they've lost. And they've given it a good crack today. Here's Bidwell, 0-0 the score. Casey Palmer, under pressure from Doyle. He's got past him and Semedo, and still Palmer goes. Little reverse ball inside the area for Haji Wright. He can get there and turn. Bidwell chipping it in, and it's headed away by Kilman. And then Sarabia's done well to take a touch. Down towards his own dead ball line, but he stopped that drifting out of play innocuously for a throw. It ends up being a Wolves ball as the last touch comes off Liam Kitching further upfield.
Yeah, again, they've come out, started well, Coventry. There isn't anything to fear because of that Wolves front line. I just wonder how long even Mark Robbins will keep Callum O'Hare on the bench. He is that X-factor player for Coventry.
Now Lemina and Aït-Nouri doing well to link up. And the Algerian continues, but on his weaker foot is right. He snatched it in a little bit and drills it some way wide of Brad Collins' left-hand post.
He is a real mix, isn't he, Aït-Nouri, of outrageous quality and then just sloppiness, isn't he? A couple of times he's had a bad touch, a couple of times he's done this where he's just made great runs and lovely footwork, got into a great position. It was his weaker right foot, but he was nowhere near threatening the goal.
Ball cleared upfield by the Coventry goalkeeper, and Sims going to help it on towards Haji Wright. Wright in good form coming into this. Right-hand side of the penalty area, Van Ewijk trying to get it high inside the penalty area. Another excellent defensive header. Palmer recycles it. Appeals for handball, fall on deaf ears. Sheaf then runs into trouble. And Semedo, having one possession back, can bring it away, but Fraser couldn't get it to stick, and he's visibly tiring. And after seeing that, Gary O'Neill turns to the bench. And I wonder whether the first change is going to be relatively imminent. Wolves have 2 players down as the ball ends up in Coventry territory, but the whistle has gone. Sam Barrett just causing or bringing a halt to proceedings for a moment. We're 4.5 minutes into the second half here on Talksport. It remains Wolves 0, Coventry 0, and bringing you the game right across North America as well. Good morning to you if you're listening on Sirius XM FC. Wolves semi-finalists in 2019, their only appearance in the last 4 since 1998. And they too have had an absence from the biggest of stages for a while, as Haji Wright whistles one in, but some way off target from 25 yards out. Now he's had a play for a goal kick. We played 5 minutes of the second half, and still a fair bit of shadow boxing going on between the two sides.
Yeah, good little turn on in the midfield from Haji Wright, drives towards the defensive line. He just took too long really to get that out of his feet nicely. It just stuck a bit under his feet. Once he got it out of his feet, he then took the strike, and you can always tell whether it's close by the goalkeeper's reaction. Sarr didn't flinch.
Yeah, just gave it a disdainful glare over his shoulder as it beat him. But Mario Lemina's given it away. And now he goes out towards Eccles for Coventry. Play forward by him for Sheep. One back by Sarabia. Helped up the left-hand touchline. Aitnari looking for Lemina. Really well read by Laddie Baudier to win it back for Coventry. Then into the feet of Van Ewijk. Laddie Baudier did his best to stay on his feet. He was just given a little ankle tap there by Sarabia. Now he's back on his feet, and Coventry back in possession. Have a free kick that they've taken quickly. Since their relegation from the Premier League, Coventry have had 3 wins in this competition against Premier League sides. They beat Blackburn once away and once at home in successive seasons back at the end of the noughties, and they knocked Stoke out in the 3rd round back in 2018. But 6 years on, this would be their biggest Premier League scalp for many years in this competition, if they can get themselves in front. And Ellis Sims has just won a free kick, and the Sky Blues have a chance to launch it towards the edge of the penalty area here and cause more problems.
Yeah, when you think just those extra few years experience, Sims, he looks more developed in his physique, he's strong, he gets his body in the right positions that you need to be able to bounce the defender off you. Something that Fraser will learn over the years. That part of his game, Sims, has been excellent.
Palmer and Bidwell, the 2 Coventry players standing over this. Is it going to be a left-footed in-swinger from Bidwell? No, he leaves it, so it's a right-footed away swinger from Palmer. Thomas attacking it, cross the face of goal and put in by Ellis Sims. Missed the sitter in the first half, but he bundles one in from close range early in the second. And Molyneux, bar 4,500 jubilant Sky Blues, is absolutely silenced. The shock is on. Championship Coventry City, who haven't reached a semi-final since 1987, are less than 40 minutes away.
Well, is it Mark Robbins that'll take credit for the set play, or will it be the set plays coach that's running off like Shearer? But Sims knows nothing about this. He's not really finished it. It's a clever free kick to the back post. Kitchen sets it up. Latibaudier actually tries to get a touch on it, skims off the top of his foot and just hits Sims straight in the stomach and just bobbles in. Maybe, just maybe, he deserves that. It's just whether did it hit his arm at all, because it was so close to his stomach.
Well, if it does hit his arm, clearly it has to be disallowed. No matter how unlucky he is that contact would be illegal. It took a touch, as you say, off the foot of Laddie Baudier, and it was a double ricochet off Sims. Now, did it hit his thigh first and then go up onto his chest, or has it hit his inner arm and gone in? There was no massive celebration from him, when he scored. And I just wonder whether, from that point of view, he thought that had hit his arm and he knew he was guilty.
Or, because he'd missed such a sitter in the first half, that maybe it was because of that. Obviously they're checking, and you're right, when you look at his face, it's like he knows that it's touched some part of his arm. It's one of those, I think, that's rolled up as well. It kind of rolls up over legs, stomach, and then is it finally the arm?
I think it might be, I think that has hit him just below the T-shirt line on his right arm. VAR is Graham Scott, and he's having a look at it frame by frame. They've magnified the image, and it doesn't matter. In terms of intent, it doesn't matter. If that hits his arm, it's got to be disallowed.
I actually think this hits Totti Gomez's arm, because Totti Gomez's arm is underneath him, and I think it hits part of Totti Gomez's forearm, and then does it touch Ellis Sims' arm? So difficult to call.
And again, if it hits Totti Gomez's arm, I don't think a penalty would be given for that because of the touch from Ladi Baudière. But if it hits Sims's arm as a result of the touch off Totti, then it gets disallowed, because if the ball hits your arm and you score from it, then it has to be disallowed. Those are the laws of the game. The Coventry fans have made their views known about VAR and about how long this is taking. I mean, so far, I reckon it's been, 4 minutes, something like that they've been looking at this. And I've seen the replays, Dean, 10 times. I haven't a clue. I just do not know.
The problem you've got is because of Totti Gomez's arm is tucked underneath Ellis Sims' arm. That's the problem. How many times can you check it with the angles that you've got without being right, very, very close, zooming right in? So difficult to tell, which is why it's taking so long.
Well, to overrule the on-field decision of goal, they have to have concrete evidence that it has hit his arm.
Yeah.
And looking at those replays, I'm not sure that there can be. They're now looking at the previous phase of play for an offside. That is really close as well, where the Kitching had stolen round the back. The fact that they're now looking at this makes me think that they passed the Sims handball, and that might not be a problem. This is also really tight. As Palmer hits the ball in, Kitching is coming round the back, and he's onside. There's no handball, and it is a goal. And it's Wolves 0, Coventry City 1.
And it feels like the right decision. It's so tight. Totti Gomez's arm, I think, is the one that gets the last touch. Ellis Sims' arm is right there. There's no offside, but the main thing is Coventry are leading.
Wolves will make a change very shortly, and we're going to see a debutant striker, Leon Chouameni, who's only on the bench for the first time last weekend, and he's going to be coming on, you would imagine, as a straight swap for Fraser. Wolves trailing at home to Championship Coventry by a goal to 0, needing a response, and Doyle will bring the ball forward. Fraser chasing after it gamefully, but not particularly quickly. Kitching can clear. Played for by Sheaf through the midfield. Kilman to Doyle. Doyle turns. Semedo. Sarabia. Now to the right-hand side for João Gomez. Semedo outside him. Hooked inside the area. Lamina trying to take a touch inside the box. Couldn't get the ball out from underneath his feet. Coventry get it away. Van Ewijk first to it ahead of Lamina, but Wolves keep it in with Totti, and then a left-footed cross hits Ladi Baudière and ricochets out towards Ellis Sims, and he's fouled on the touchline, and Coventry's goal scorer has won a free kick. 58 gone, Wolves 0, Coventry 1. Matt Doherty's going to be coming on as well for Wolves, player who played in their last quarter-final win, which was against Manchester United back in 2019. Actually scored in the semis that year. And can he make an impact here as Wolves look for their first semi-final since? So he's coming on, and we're also going to see Leon Chouameni, an 18-year-old debutant striker, replacing an 18-year-old rookie striker.
Yeah, he's had his chance, Fraser. It's been a really tough afternoon for him. He's battled away without really getting a sniff of an opportunity, but Chouameni, what an opportunity he's got. He's taller, longer limbs, but physically it's still going to be a big battle up against Thomas and Kitching.
Well, listen, we've already seen in the FA Cup this year for Liverpool, the likes of Lewis Kumas and Jayden Danns getting on the score sheet. Dan's impact as well on the League Cup final coming off the bench. Script is written. An 18-year-old Leon Chiuomi. Can he make himself a hero to those in old gold and black? He's tall, lean, stands in front of us, and now makes his way into the middle as Wolves have possession as they bring the ball forward over halfway. They're trailing 1-0. Coventry fans, certainly the more glass half empty Coventry fans, will be quick to remind you they've dropped so many points from winning positions in the league this season. But here's Haji Wright as they look to double their advantage, and it's fired back towards Van Ewijk. Sharp chance for him as the ball came slightly behind his left foot, which he wrapped around the ball quickly and fired over the bar.
Yeah, well, that's you would expect happen more and more. More spaces opening up over the top for Coventry on the counter-attack. Haji Wright getting down the left-hand side, cutting it back. Well, what he does is he puts too much power on that to Van Ewijk, which means he can't adjust and whip that ball into the back of the net. Instead, it just bounces off and goes straight out. That pass has got to be lent to Van Ewijk rather than fired at him.
Matt Doty's come on the left wing. So Wolves have gone from 3-4-3 to 4-2-3-1 now, with Lamina playing at 10, in behind striker Chiuomi, and Doty playing on the left and Sarabia coming out of the right. Nelson Semedo, 61 gone, Wolves 0, Coventry 1. Semedo laying it off towards Sarabia. Sarabia to Joao Gomez. Aït-Nouri coming onto it. Thought about letting fly on his favoured left foot. Tucks it back inside instead. Joao Gomez, Semedo, Sarabia. Cross beat the first man, not the second. Headed clear only as far as Gomez. Gomez on the edge of the D has gone down. He was caught by Eccles. And it's a free kick in a really good position because he's just to the left of the D, about 4 yards outside the penalty area.
He just doesn't need to do it, does he, Eccles? He doesn't need to make any sort of a challenge. He's going absolutely nowhere. You've got the cover. You're shuffling across. He just tries to have a little steal of the ball and treads straight on Joao Gomez's foot. Well, Sarabia, Tommy Doyle will both fancy this.
Well, the ball has been spotted down. They've moved it back maybe a yard from where the infringement took place. That will enable them to have more chance of getting it up over the wall and down again. Collins, standing on his line, has lined up a wall that is maybe 6 strong, but everybody apart from Casey Palmer is back. He doesn't know whether it's going to be a left footer or a right footer taking it because it's a very central shot. It is Doyle. It wasn't too far away, but the keeper was at full stretch, threw himself to his left, but Doyle's effort beat the bar.
Yeah, we're talking about half a foot here, just over the crossbar. But because it was goalkeeper's side, it would have had to have been brilliant. And Collins didn't even take even half a step to his right. He stuck to his side.
1-0 to Coventry. And in the Championship, they're back underway in the South Wales derby. Swansea leading Cardiff by a goal to 0. Cardiff going into it on the back of 4 straight wins, but trailing to that goal late in the first half from Liam Cullen. And the South Wales derby continues for you right now over on Talksport 2 with Nigel Adderley and Sam Parkin. Here on Talksport, Wolves 0, Coventry 1. First ever quarter-final for every single Coventry player. As their first ever semi-final beckoning. It is at the moment. Here's Joao Gomez. Gomez with the ball inside the penalty area. Easily cleared. Run back by Doyle from Palmer. Doyle taking it towards the edge of the box. Drives it in. Hits Sheaf. Comes down for Joao Gomez. Sheaf again able to clear, and then Haji Wright gets himself involved with Sandy Bueno. The two of them just wrestling each other. As the ball was played further forward, Sims chases after it, but he's fouled Kilman. And Wolves take a free kick, and they're in a hurry to get on with proceedings. We've got 25 minutes to go. Going to have at least 5 minutes to stoppage time at the end of the game. We already know that. So Still half an hour's worth of playing time for Coventry to hang on to this lead given to them by Ellis Sims. Chiwomi inside the box, almost able to set up Sarabia. Then a shot comes in and hits Chiwomi and deflects behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, I thought that was the moment then. Great ball into his feet from Lemina. Just turns inside the box. Chiwomi tries to pass it to Sarabia. And then when it bounced to Lemina, as he strikes, poor old Chiwomi's lay on the floor, hits him straight in the kisser and out and wide.
So something out Laurel and Hardy's just getting back to his feet and ends up wearing the shot that comes in from his teammate and deflects a goal bound ever wide, and nothing he could do about it. 65 gone, 1-0 to Coventry. Sims, who'll be feeling slightly happier about life than he was half an hour ago. Ball's out for a throw that Van Ewijk will take, and he will be as well. Have only ever won one FA Cup quarter-final in 6 previous attempts. That was a 3-1 victory at Sheffield Wednesday, inspired by a couple of Keith Houchin goals on the way to winning the Cup in 1987. And of course, it's a very small statistical sample size, but every time they've ever got past the quarter-finals, they've gone on to win it. Ball played forward. Haji Wright hoping to help it on. I'll tell you something, it was dramatic when they won it in 1987. If Coventry win the Cup in 2024, it will go down as one of the all-time great footballing stories. One step at a time, and lots of mini steps necessary within the next half hour for Mark Robins here. Wolves, you would expect from this point, will completely dominate possession. It's just a question of whether they have the ability to create enough decent goal-scoring opportunities to be able to take one. Palmer, good ball forward from him. Now Wright is in behind Bueno. He's inside the penalty area. Haji Wright, and it's blocked. Vital stop. Eccles on the follow-up. That one also saved by Jose Sarr. Eccles chips it back in. Wright with a header, which drops into the midriff of the goalkeeper. Just a great break. Oh, they're giving it away. And it's Casey Palmer! And it's wide. And Mark Robins turns away. And he's got both hands either side of his nose. He knows there that they've had the opportunity to just about kill this off.
Well, Jose Sarr bowls it out. And it's just taken straight off the toe of Doherty, who's only just come on. He turned straight into light blue traffic. It then goes to Casey Palmer, and because of that, Jose Sarr's out of position. All he's got to do is lift it and get it in, and he puts it wide.
Chiwomi sliding into a challenge, wiring into it against Bobby Thomas, and then Sheath is fouled. Went down and grabbed hold of the ball on his way down. I don't think that has influenced Sam Barrett's decision in any way. It's a clear free kick. Callum O'Hare's going to be coming on for Coventry in a moment. The mercurial number 10, product of the Villa Academy. And he'll be on for the final scheduled quarter of proceedings. Casey Palmer is going to leave this free kick for Bidwell. He just has a word with the former Brentford man. And then Palmer vacates the scene. So Bidwell to take this. 5 around the edge of the penalty area. Ball swung in very deep. Headed high by Doherty, then away by Joao Gomez. Out towards Ait Nouri. And he can take it on under a little bit of pressure. He's been able to get it past Liam Kitching, who stands firm. The Coventry fans who had a perfect view of that on the lower tier of the Steve Bull on the far side, really appreciating his efforts. Ball is out of play for a throw, which can't be taken until Coventry have made the change. And it's a straight swap because Palmer's coming off. And Callum O'Hare will come on. The man who's got 3 goals in 3 FA Cup ties this season. A couple against Sheffield Wednesday in the 4th round replay, having netted against Oxford in the 3rd round as well.
Yeah, what a player to be able to bring on. Mark Robins has been trying to protect him with the injuries that he's had and to squeeze every last drop of quality when he is on the pitch, so he's fresh. Different player to Palmer. Could be really important as well in terms of linking and keeping control of the ball now when they look to counter-attack.
20 to go. 1-0 to Coventry after Ellis Sims' goal 8 minutes into the second half, which took a 4.5-minute VAR inspection to uphold. Long crossfield ball from the Wolves left out to the right, bypasses Semedo and goes straight out for a Coventry throw. This is their first FA Cup quarter-final for 15 years. Jordan Henderson was in the Coventry side the last time that they played in the quarter-finals. They lost 2-0 at home to Chelsea, to goals from Drogba and Alex. The only other quarter-final they've been in since they won the Cup was back in 1998 when they lost to Sheffield United on penalties. Penalties a possibility today, but it would need Wolves to equalise in the next 25 minutes or so. Extra time on the cards as well. 70 gone. Nelson Semedo in possession here. Help forward. Joao Gomez. Chiuomi will get on his bike towards the edge of the penalty area. Cleared though by Bidwell. You listen to Wolves against Coventry in the FA Cup. It's live on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. Hugo Bueno being ready for Wolves as Semedo wins a corner. A cross that hit Bidwell on the chin and deflects behind.
Yeah, it's going to be about the intensity and tempo, isn't it, from Wolves? Got to keep everything quick. Throw-ins, free kicks, everything's got to be quick and build the pressure.
Sarabia is going to take this corner. First of the second half. Left-footed, lofted into a very congested 6-yard box and superbly claimed under pressure from Brad Collins.
Yeah, that's a bonus, isn't it? A real bonus when your goalkeeper comes and claims. There's a reason those gloves are so sticky, so you can grab it out of the sky.
1-0 to Coventry. In terms of XG, Coventry have nearly 3 today. They've got an XG advantage of about a goal and a half over Wolves. Thomas and towards Van Ewijk. And the Dutchman bringing it forward, the space for Ben Sheaf. Lamina quickly trying to close him down and did enough to make sure that Sheaf's hurried effort sails high over the bar. Latest Wolves change, Hugo Bueno on for Tommy Doyle.
Yeah, you wonder where they'll put Hugo Bueno and maybe a little reshuffle, maybe Lamina back into the midfield area.
Well, Aït-Nouri wasn't sure. As Hugo Bueno is a left back, so I think they're going to play Aït-Nouri in a much more advanced position, possibly in as the number 10 in behind Chiuomi. And they've dropped Mario Lamina alongside Joao Gomez in the midfield, exactly as Dean Ashton predicted. Ball brought down well by Sarabia. Here's Aït-Nouri in this more advanced role, and he's done well. He's flicked it up over the head of the tiring Kitching, taking it on. Sliding challenge was expertly timed by Sheaf to get it away, but he only found Sarabia. Sarabia to the left-hand side of the box for Doherty. Doherty trying to get round the challenge. It's flicked away from him by Ladi Bodier. Doherty stayed on his feet. Had he gone down, the referee might have had a decision to make. Here's Gomez again, right-footed effort. Oh! Flicked by the goalkeeper onto the outside of the post and behind for a corner.
Once again, another honest player. Doherty could easily have tried to go down there with a bit of contact. Every single Wolves fan felt like he should have done. He didn't in the end. Joao Gomez got the ball. Brilliant strike, arrow into the near post.
73 gone, 1-0 Coventry. In comes the corner. It's headed away. And then O'Hare will try and take it on, and he's got a bang to the face. A boot raised by Semedo. Play continues until the ball is lofted inside the Coventry penalty area and picked up by Collins. And O'Hare can now receive treatment. I hope he didn't get a little bit of inadvertent dentistry there, because he ducked his head in as the boot was being raised by Semedo. Had the right to go for it. Well, you've seen the replay, Dean. What contact's been made?
Well, first of all, I'm amazed that Sam Barrett didn't give a free kick, because Semedo's foot is very, very high. O'Hare's tried to be brave and just put his head in there. It's really hard to tell whether he has got any contact, and luckily we've got monitor in front of us, and there is a little graze on the nose. I think it's slight, should we say?
Well, the fact that half his nose is up underneath his left eye suggests there was a bit of contact.
Very lucky, Semedo, really.
Yeah. No, he's okay. It's not. I don't think it is a break. It's being facetious. He's going to be able to continue, Callum O'Hare. They've very quickly checked him out for concussion protocol and the like. Just having another view of the Laddie Baudière challenge on Doherty on the edge of the penalty area, and as you say, had he gone down, I just wonder what Sam Barrett's decision would have been. Laddie Baudière appeared to instigate contact knee on knee.
Well, as he tried to he went as if he was going to make the challenge, tried to pull his leg away, and still caught Doherty slightly.
Sarabia standing on the edge of the penalty area, asking the question of the referee how much time he was going to allow Brad Collins to have on the edge of the box before he cleared from hands. Ball goes out of play for a throw. O'Hare still off the field, but he's going to be allowed back on in a moment. We're into the final 15 minutes here on Talksport and Sirius XM-FC. O'Hare now allowed back on. Semedo in possession. Back for João Gomez. O'Hare sprinting after him straight away. Couldn't get a challenge in time. Mario Lemina. O'Hare chases him as well. Now played out towards Matt Doherty on the Wolves' left. Back towards halfway. Kilman can bring it forward. Wolves only lost 4 times at home in 17 games in all competitions this season. Beaten here by Liverpool and Brighton, by Manchester United and Brentford. Can Coventry spectacularly and dramatically add their name to that list? They've got more defending to do. Wolves have got a free kick now. 12 outside the box, almost level the edge of the left-hand edge of the box. And it's another opportunity for Bueno, for Aït-Nouri, for Kilman, Chiwomi, all in there. Coventry keeping a high line a couple of yards outside the penalty area. Can they be brave? A few of the Wolves players standing in offside positions. Coventry retreat. Doherty attacking it. Nods it across. Aït-Nouri, it's come off the post. And Kitching will clear it.
Oh, he's so unlucky.
Wolves come again. Aït-Nouri again. Wins the corner. They're getting closer. They've hit both posts now.
So similar to the Coventry goal. Played to the back post. Doherty wins it. Plays it across. Aït-Nouri just tries to guide it in at the back post and just comes straight back towards him off the post.
Left-footed away swinging corner. Must have come close to curling over the dead ball line from Sarabia. It's brought under control by Hugo Bueno outside the box. Not the greatest of passes from him to Semedo. He can recycle it out towards Sarabia. Now Matt Doherty. Laddie Baudière stops him making any progress. It goes out for a Wolves throw. Wolves 0, Coventry 1. Mario Lemina inside the penalty area. He's gone down. Bobby Thomas, the defender nearest him, can get it away. And no real claims from the Wolves players that it should have been a penalty. Lemina's still down inside the penalty area. Jose Sarr comes out to sweep up and contrives to knock it behind square with a left-footed volley that will give Coventry a throw. But Lemina is still face down in the turf, away to our right.
Well, I thought Bobby Thomas did well in terms of he didn't commit himself, but Lemina definitely feels like he was caught with the arm, as then Bobby Thomas tries to then put his arm across Lemina and catches him in the face, is what he's saying.
Well, the rest of this FA Cup weekend has got something to live up to. Talksport, the only national radio station to bring you coverage of all 4 FA Cup quarter-finals later today. Manchester City's quest for the double treble continues against Newcastle, who, as you'll remember, the side that knocked them out of the League Cup. That game kicks off at 5:30 on Talksport. I'll remind you of what's coming up tomorrow in a moment as Hugo Bueno volleys it away from his own left-back position. Headed on through the midfield by Coventry's Ben Sheaf. He couldn't beat João Gomez. O'Hare can, though, and can wriggle away with possession. Hugo Bueno's won it back, and Mario Lemina stabs it forward. Ahead of Chiwomi, and Coventry have got it back. Haji Wright might have got himself into a shooting position for a moment. O'Hare tried to play it back in. Sandy Bueno gets in the way of that. Chiwomi back defending, squeezes it through. Sarabia can't take it on. Kitching's won it back. This is good from Coventry. O'Hare, reverse ball, right inside the area. Wins a corner. He might have been able to do more from that position. In fact, it took a little double ricochet. He's come back off Haji Wright last and gone out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, that's 2 good opportunities, though, really, for Coventry if they get the pass right, because there is the space.
And now Ellis Sims has got it on the edge of the area, and a right-footed volley is tipped away by Jose Sarr, and that again was after Wolves overplaying in the back gave it away. It was just headed on towards Sims, and a snapshot half volley, well saved by Jose Sarr, because it came to him really quickly. 1-0 to Coventry, 10 minutes to go. Semedo. Bit of wrestling going on in the midfield. Referee says play on. Bidwell who won it back from Aït-Nouri. Wolves fans thought that Eccles was the guilty party and had given a free kick away. O'Hare can bring it forward here for the Sky Blues. Past Eccles, and João Gomes knocks it away. O'Hare then goes to the ground. Play goes on. Loose ball squirts back towards the halfway line. Coventry get it forward for O'Hare. Another outstanding diving save. Back in and just too far ahead of Sims. And he goes away and out for a throw.
That was a quality save from O'Hare's strike. The one from Sims was right at him. This one from O'Hare is arcing away, and he has to dive to his left-hand side, two-handed, to pat it away. And then when it came back in, it was a vital header just to skim it away from Sims getting his second.
Coventry get a free kick now. O'Hare falling on the ball. The referee is going to have to book Sarabia for the most blatant display of ironic applause that you could ever wish to see. He's clapped his way into the book. Sarabia is cautioned, and Bidwell will take a free kick. Tomorrow, don't forget, a repeat of the 2021 final. Leicester travelling to Chelsea. It's a 12:45 kickoff, and then Manchester United meet Liverpool at Old Trafford in the Cup for the second time in 3 years. Liverpool hoping to win a cup tie away to United for the first time, remarkably, in more than a century. You won't hear that game anywhere else on National Race. Live from Talksport, 3:30 tomorrow. The shot on in the first of the 4 FA Cup ties this weekend. Bidwell, free kick in from him. Headed away by Chiwomi on the edge of the 6-yard box. Wolves trailing here 1-0. Another ball in from Bidwell. What an inviting one in towards the near post. And it was Liam Kitching that attacked it. He got something on it, but not enough. It hit a covering defender and goes behind for a corner.
Well, I just wonder whether it's Sarr, actually, who's made now 3 decent saves in the space of 2 minutes. Kitching gets ahead of his marker, just doesn't get much power on it, which means Sarr, as he's just then falling to his right, it just hits him in the stomach.
8 minutes plus stoppage time to go. So that could easily still be 15 minutes of play left, Jack. Coventry, a goal of the good. They've had chances to put it to bed. Corner comes in and curves into the hands of Jose Sarr, who's made many more saves than he might have anticipated having to make. Lamina forward through the midfield. Coventry's XG up, approaching 4 now. They've only scored 1. Semedo. Will the misses, will the saves yet be significant? They're not necessarily at the moment. Chiwomi. Sarabia coming in off the right flank. Nice little reverse ball. João Gomes playing it in. It's Chiwomi coming onto it, and there's the equaliser from Aït-Nouri. And yes, those misses will prove to be significant. Worked inside the penalty area. Ryan Aït-Nouri, who hit the post a few minutes ago, comes onto it and volleys in. It's Wolves 1, Coventry 1. The lead lasted half an hour. Half an hour, not long enough for the Sky Blues. It's dead level again.
Sometimes you need a little bit of luck in these games, in these cup runs, and they've had a little bit here of Wolves. It's great play by Sarabia, reverse pass to Gomez, clips it into the box, and Ladabodiere can't do much when it comes right at his midriff. It then hits his thigh, bounces up straight into the path of Aït-Nouri, who just smashes the volley low past Collins. What an end to the game we've got now.
So back dead level again. 6 minutes of the 90 left. Here's Haji Wright. The songs are of relief as much as exultation. Free kick that Wolves will take on the edge of their own penalty area after Hadji Wright was offside. One apiece. Coventry have dropped 21 points from winning positions in championship games this season. And here's another lead that they haven't been able to hold. Still time, of course, for them to get their noses back in front. They've had the better chances, they've had more chances. But Aït-Nouri in this unfamiliar role as a number 10 in behind Chiuomi, the man that has done the damage. João Gomez wins it back for Wolves, trying to get it away from O'Hare. Chiuomi's going to chase, and the fresher legs might cause a problem for Kitching, but the defender got it back to his goalkeeper, and Collins gets it away. Helped on by João Gomez. Aït-Nouri's back from an offside position. Free kick to Coventry, 8 outside their penalty area. It's 1-1, and here's Dean Ashton.
Well, Coventry haven't given up in terms of their approach. They know that they've got the quality, they've created the chances, but how often do we see it? How often do we see a lower league team play against the top side, have the chances, don't take them, or the goalkeeper makes saves? And how often do you get punished? Happens so often.
Well, it's happened again here. Now the Coventry fans' jubilation has been largely tempered. Semedo back to Sandy Bueno. His ball over the top. Aït-Nouri chasing after it. Headed away by Bobby Thomas. Brought down by O'Hare. He, in turn, was brought down by João Gomez. And it's a free kick inside the centre circle. 1-1. Is your money on Wolves from this point?
Well, you would expect the momentum to be with them. Coventry have just gone right back to where they were before the goal, which is looking to get forward. Hadji Wright's been a threat on the left-hand side. Callum O'Hare just gives them something different as well. But Wolves will just do everything quickly, build the momentum. Don't let Coventry feel like they're back in it.
It's a Coventry throw. Crowd 31,262. Well, they've been treated to a cracking FA Cup tie. 3 to go. Sims back towards the edge of the penalty area. Wolves will get it away with Sarabia. Looking for Chiuomi. Kitching beats him to it. And it goes out of play for a throw, which will be taken on the Wolves' right-hand side. 87 minutes gone. But as I mentioned a couple of times, the VAR inspection after the Coventry goal was so lengthy, and that we've seen players go down injured. And your guess is as good as mine as to how many extra minutes are going to be added, but it's got to be at least 7, you would think, and it might be significantly more than that. And substitutions as well, big celebration in the aftermath of the Wolves goal. All incidents which will see time added. We're 2 minutes away from knowing. It's 1-1. Ball play forward. Aït-Nouri. Chiuomi's in an offside position, so Aït-Nouri will go alone. Now he can play in Chiuomi. He gets it straight back. Aït-Nouri flicking forward. Hugo Bueno. Black Country euphoria. They turn it around with 2 goals in the last 10 minutes to break Coventry hearts. Hugo Bueno off the bench with the first goal of his career. And he may well have won an FA Cup quarter-final.
What a break! What a break this is from Wolves. And it started with Hugo Bueno. He's the one that then played it down the line. And Aït-Nouri. Wow! Why has he never played number 10 before? This is absolutely outstanding. Lovely dribble, couple of step-overs. The pass through the Coventry defence for Hugo Bueno, who had then made the lung-busting run to get beyond Aït-Nouri, was just so cute. De Bruyne-esque. And then the calmness, considering he hadn't got a goal, was brilliant from Hugo Bueno. He just rolled it past Collins with the side of his left foot right into the corner. Well,
they haven't been knocked out yet, but you've got to feel for Mark Robins. and for Coventry City. So profligate in front of goal. It took Wolves a long time to get going in this game, but Aït-Nouri on 84, Hugo Bueno on 88. It's Wolves 2, Coventry 1. Here's Haji Wright for Coventry, who will feel that the very least they deserve to get this to extra time. Haji Wright flicking it on here inside the box. Sims couldn't get there, and maybe Van Ewijk was a little bit flat-footed. Aït-Nouri helped back to his feet after taking a tumble on the far touchline. It's a Coventry throw, but only after a second ball is removed from the pitch. The fourth official is out, Michael Salisbury. How many extra minutes will it be? 9. So 9 minutes now for Wolves to hang on, to get the job done in 90 minutes and make it through to the semi-final for the first time since 2019 and for only the second this century. Coventry with Bidwell. Played forward towards Ellis Sims. Sarabia clattering it back towards the edge of his own penalty area. João Gomes heads it on and then ends up catching the ball after he was given a push, and the referee put whistle to mouth. Wolves will be in no hurry to take it. They're 8.5 minutes away from Wembley.
I mean, you must look as a fan, and so many fans must look and just go, why didn't we play with this intensity before we conceded a goal? Because we're capable of it. It's just, football's mad in that sense.
Free kick is taken by Jose Sarr and headed away. Goes out for a throw which will be taken over on the far touchline of the Wolves left. Let's get team news from Kenilworth Road. Ian Abrahams.
One change for Luton. Ruddock in for the man on the bench, Hagioka. As for Forest, Elanga, Sangari and Bolly, they come in for Dominguez, Danilo and Omar Baladele.
Moose, thank you very much indeed. We will of course have all the news of every goal that goes in as it goes in throughout the course of the afternoon with Adrian Durham here with all the goals throughout the Premier League and EFL, including that Luton Forest game. The Hatters on the back of their midweek capitulation at Bournemouth. Ipswich against Sheffield Wednesday. The Tractor Boys trying to get back into the top 2 of the Championship. Classified results as well at 5. And live Premier League action coming from Turf Moor. Burnley needing a win to get back within 7 points of safety against the Brentford side. Will be 8 clear of the bottom 3 if they're victorious. That's live on Talksport 2 from 3 this afternoon before our next FA Cup quarter-final at 5:30 between Manchester City and Newcastle. Got 7 minutes of stoppage time to go in this. Wolves 2, Coventry 1 the score. But that doesn't begin to tell the story. Here's Chiuomi. He's fouled. Free kick to Wolves. About 5 yards inside their own half. And it's just a question of ringcraft now as far as Wolves are concerned. Coventry are going to make a double change. While they do so, we'll get the team news from Burnley. Ian Danter.
Well, Burnley make just one change, Jim, from their 2-2 draw with West Ham, and it's an interesting one. Ari Muric is in goal, displacing James Trafford. Muric's first Premier League game of the season then this afternoon against the Brentford side that make 2 changes from their defeat to Arsenal. Norgard is injured, Jensen comes in for him, Reguilon back fit, he's in for Lewis Potter, and Burmo is amongst the Brentford substitutes once again. Burnley-Brentford, 3 o'clock on Talksport 2.
Cheers, Dance. So the double change for Coventry, Torp and Tavares on for Ladi Baudier and Eccles. Fabio Tavares has scored a couple of late goals in the 5th round against Maidstone. He's actually got 3 goals in his last 15 minutes of first team action. Well, he's got 6 minutes to extend that run here. Aït-Nouri with a low shot. That one's easily blocked by Collins. Coventry need a goal. They've got 6 minutes to find it. Long ball forward over the top from Collins. Out comes the Wolves goalkeeper Jose Sarr. And Haji Wright put the pressure on. Sarr, a little bit lucky with the bounce that it didn't take him out one side of the penalty area as he'd run round it, but he was able to dive on it, bring it under control and knock a few more seconds off the clock.
I mean, you've got to praise the Wolves players because of what they brought since the goal, but that little change of Aït-Nouri going into that position, he gets a goal and then he sets up the winner. Whether that was superb management or a bit of luck in terms of putting him in there and hoping that he does well, either way, seems to have changed it.
Free kick to Coventry as O'Hare is fouled inside the centre circle. It's been taken quickly by Kitching. And out towards Tavares on the right-hand side. The young winger will try and take it on. He's won a throw. And Coventry making steady progress towards the edge of the Wolves penalty area. He's going to leave it for Van Ewijk. Thrown back by him for Bobby Thomas. Thomas to Kitching. The two remaining centre-halves now that Bloody Baudier's gone off. Held forward round the corner. O'Hare. Good block challenge on him on the edge of the area from Kilman. The ball played back. Jose Sarr will control it with his feet inside his own 6-yard box and then dive on it. They're nearly there. All the old tricks coming out from the Wolves players. And I've said many times, don't get me wrong, I would want my side to do exactly the same in these circumstances.
I was thinking, when it's your team, you love it. When it's not and you want to get back into the game, oh wow. It really, really grates.
Yeah, it was the footballing equivalent of Jose Sarr sticking 2 fingers up at Coventry, the way that he dealt with that. Wolves have it. Kilman helped forward. We played 5.5 of the extra 9 minutes. Aït-Nouri's flagged offside. Free kick to Coventry nearer halfway than the edge of their own penalty area. That their need is desperate. They've got to get the ball forward. They are a side who scored more goals at this stage of a second division season than they have since the 1960s. They know that they have the attacking artillery. Scored more goals in this FA Cup run than they ever scored in a single FA Cup campaign in the past. But they need one more, at least. They need one in the next 3 minutes or so. Here's Chiuomi for Wolves. One back by Victor Torp. O'Hare taking it on towards the edge of the penalty area. He'll roll it out for Fabio Tavares. Tavares inside the box, checks, plays it back. O'Hare, good challenge on him by Gomez. Right-footed effort from Torp. Snatched it, couldn't get hold of it. Player who is capable of the spectacular, but he couldn't get hold of that. Coventry recycle it. Win the second, still outside the box. It's Haji Wright, gets to the byline. Header across the face, a goal and in! It's Sims! He's done it again! It's 2-2! What an afternoon Ellis Sims has had! He's missed the easiest opportunity of his career. He scored with one that has hit him. And then he heads a 97th minute equaliser. Coventry live to fight another day. Wolves 2, Coventry 2.
Atmosphere from the Wolves' perspective totally sapped. It's such good wing play from Haji Wright. He goes to fake as if he's going to cross it, just takes a tiny little dab of a touch and then curls it round Semedo into the area. Little flick on at the near post, and there's Sims. All good strikers can forget misses and just keep getting in there. It's a brilliant little flick, and he's right there in the right spot, pretty much the same spot he missed from in the first half. He heads in to equalise.
Well, in the last round, he scored the first Coventry hat-trick in the FA Cup since Darren Huckabee back in 1999. They were the only FA Cup goals that he's ever scored until today. 2 more for him. 1 on 53 and 1 dramatically on 90 plus 7. 2-2. Coventry had the ball away through the midfield. There's probably another couple of minutes to go because of a change and that goal in stoppage time. So Wolves trying to win it again. Late in the game. Bringing it forward now. Sarabia waiting in the middle. It was clear before it got to Chiuomi. Haji Wright with a touch. Back towards his own goalkeeper. He didn't want it there, but he dealt with it, Collins. Skies it out towards the touchline. Sarabia keeps it in. Right-footed ball in from him. Collins will claim that. And they should just about see Coventry into extra time.
That really would have been ridiculous if another goal would have gone in then. It's been a great cup tie. Took a while to get going. But Coventry have created enough chances to at least be level.
10 years ago, Coventry lost at home to Worcester City. But 10 years on, They've still got a chance, just about to go into extra time, of reaching an FA Cup semi-final for the first time in the lives of any of these players. Ball is out of play for a throw which will be taken on the Coventry left. The 9 minutes of stoppage time have elapsed, but there should be, you would think, at least another minute. Bidwell throwing the ball forward towards O'Hare, who's got round his man, pulled inside the area for Sims for right. Oh, they've won it! They've won it! Coventry have won it in the 10th minute of stoppage time. That is the most extraordinary FA Cup fight back you could ever wish to see. Haji Wright in the 100th minute of the game. And for the first time since 1987, Coventry are in the FA Cup semi-finals. They will barely be time to kick off. And the Coventry fans, who've had such an extraordinary, painful, heartbreaking journey over a generation, are in ecstasy. They cannot believe what they've seen. A goal up with 7 minutes to go. 2-1 down with 2 minutes of stoppage time to go, and now 3-2 up. Who says this isn't the best domestic cup football competition in the world? It is quite extraordinary. And if unbelievable is an overused word, let me tell you, this is unbelievable.
Astonishing. Absolutely astonishing, that from this Coventry team. What a goal, by the way. And it's still going on. I mean, the work from O'Hare on the left-hand side to cut it back to Sims. One touch to right. The finish was outstanding as well, with his inside of his right foot.
They deserve it. The full-time whistle is greeted with a cheer, like they've won the competition itself. Coventry, the brink of bankruptcy within the last few years, and now they are at Wembley in an FA Cup semi-final. But it's not just that, it's the manner of the victory. Mark Robins has seen it all in his managerial career, in his playing career, famed for being the man that saved Fergie's job with a goal in the FA Cup. But this is even more far-reaching and dramatic in the career of Mark Robins. Sims on 53, Aitnery on 84, Hugo Bueno on 88. It looked as though Wolves' double sucker punch would get them over the line. But Sims in the 7th minute of stoppage time, and Haji right in the 10th. And it finishes Wolves 2, Coventry 3. The most absorbing 15 minutes of FA Cup football you could ever wish to see. The Wolves fans have filed out. The Coventry party has only just started. The Championship side are at Wembley in an FA Cup semi-final for the first time since 1987. And nobody here will ever forget how they did it.
Oof. Dean Ashton, Jim Proudfoot, thank you very much indeed. I'm going to try and find the words here, because before the game we talked about those FA Cup memories. This competition is about making magic, making memories, not just for the players on the pitch. We talked about the chain reaction of memories that it creates for the players, for their families, for the fans who are grouped together, the ones who've travelled to all these games, the ones who have been there, done that, seen it, taken this team through every single stage of this competition so far. Wow, what memories these Coventry City fans will be taking home today, and what memories this team have created out on the pitch. Absolutely extraordinary scenes. You see it all in the FA Cup, you really do, but the way they played out those final few moments of this game, Coventry City, is absolutely remarkable. They deserve all the flowers. They deserve all the adulation they are receiving from their fans who have lined the Steve Bull stand opposite us. They are cheering so loudly with their players now. This is an extraordinary moment for Mark Robins and his side. You never know if there's going to be an FA Cup shock at this stage of the competition. There are 19 places between Wolves and between Coventry City. The Coventry City, a side who are pushing a whisker away from reaching the Premier League at the end of last season. Wolves looked like they were in crisis mode when they appointed Gary O'Neill 5 days before the start of the Premier League season. Look at the job he has done. Look at the job Mark Robins has done since that point, and look where Coventry City are now. This is absolutely remarkable stuff, and it is heartwarming to watch a side from the Championship being able to pull off what you call a giant killing, if that's what you want to call it at this stage of the competition, because on paper that's what it is, and it's the manner in which they've done it. It is absolutely extraordinary. Dean Ashton, wow.
It's another classic FA Cup upset. It just is, and what a roller coaster. Just that you can't analyse that. You can't go, it's that tactics. It's not. It's just sheer will from both sets of players, I have to say. For Wolves, first of all, to be able to do it and come back after the 80th minute with 2 goals, but then to Coventry to turn it back around in the 97th and 90 plus 10 minutes. Look, honestly, the quality of that last goal was so good, and might have been it was just O'Hare, Sims one touch, Hadji Wright with a fantastic side foot finish, deserved to win any game. It's why we first of all love football. It's why we love cup competitions, and it's ours, remember, it's our FA Cup competition that's got so much history, and this just adds to it. That's why it's why we turn up to watch these games, because you don't know what's going to happen. That was absolutely fantastic.
And the Coventry players are still out there on the pitch, unsurprisingly. I don't think they're going to go anywhere for a while yet. The Wolves fans, of course, have started to file out long ago, long before the full-time whistle. I mean, credit to Wolves for the way they came back into it. I mean, I thought Rayan Aït-Nouri was superb with a goal and assist in that game. But for Coventry City, it would have been so easy for their heads to drop. Jim mentioned it in commentary. You know, they've dropped so many points from winning positions. It really could have gone the other way for them. When you look at all the opportunities that they spurned throughout this game, to be able to keep their heads up is just a sign of how far they've come as a team. Yeah,
it's a sign of what he's built over the years in the character of the team, the character of the players. You can see that with the relationship they've got with the supporters. Milan van Ewijk is doing his usual rousing celebrations. They're all still waiting for one more from him as he does, and it's about knowing you've got players that can score goals and having that belief. But these things don't happen. They don't happen every week. This is a one-off. I mean, most players will never go throughout their career having been in that position and then scoring 2 so late. Enjoy it. You're going to Wembley.
And this is it. They're going back to Wembley, the scene of their devastation last season. But, you know, what can this do for their season now? Because they're only a point and a place off the playoff places. I mean, let's not make any bones about it. The Championship is probably the toughest league out there at the moment. I mean, there's stiff competition there. It can change at any given point. But this gives them some momentum, some hope, some belief that this is a good side, and you know they were so close last season.
Look, this gets injected straight into the veins, doesn't it? this sort of a result and the manner that they've done it. You know, just let that happen, take it all in. It's perfect in terms of probably Mark Robins. He's now got the international break coming up, so they can enjoy it. They can rest. I know some players will go away, but still. Just brilliant for Coventry. I feel for Wolves because they came back into it, but Coventry deserve this. The way they played, the way they approached the game, the chances they created, and they came here with such a positive attitude, and they've got the rewards because of it. And surely it has to give them a huge boost now going towards the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, a word on on Wolves as well, the way they fought back. I mean, was it in the end for Wolves, was it the injuries up front that really separated the two sides today?
Yeah, I mean, they had the sort of 7 or 8 minute moment really in the game. For the rest of the game, they struggled to really create and look like they were a threat. But it was down to intensity and sure will and Aït-Nouri really towards the end that got them into a winning position. It'll be interesting to see what Gary O'Neill says about the game, because sometimes you have to just sit back and go, that's just madness. And sometimes it happens. And congratulations to Coventry.
Absolutely, congratulations to Coventry. What a job that they've done out there. So we saw Callum O'Hare and I can't remember who the other player was. It might have been Josh Eccles, who were geeing on the fans, who, as I say, they are not going anywhere. Just finally, in terms of sort of FA Cup shocks, I guess, and as I say, in some ways this is a shock, in some ways it isn't. But in terms of the entertainment factor of the game, sometimes the one that lives long in the memory is the last one that you've seen. I mean, I was at the Maidstone game when they beat Ipswich. That's it. Thanks, Jim Proudfoot, there for reminding me. When they beat Ipswich Town, and that was an incredible game as well. But this one as well, it just feels magical in terms of the ones that you've seen. How special is this one?
Oh, to be here live and to watch it was one of the best I've ever seen. You know, it's just been fantastic. And I know people have doubted the cup over the years, but they shouldn't, because it brings you moments like this. You tell me, by looking at those players and the staff members of Coventry, it doesn't really matter. Absolute nonsense. What a competition.
What a competition. The best club competition, the oldest club competition in the world, and we have just seen it live, and you've been hearing it live here on Talksport. What a pleasure it's been to bring it to you. Now, Coventry had progressed from just one of their previous 7 FA Cup quarter-finals. That was the year that they won it, the 1986-87 campaign. So this is the first time in absolutely ages that they've done it, since 2008-9. And this is a momentous occasion for this Coventry team. They are only just heading down the tunnel. Their fans are still shouting loud and proud. Coventry are on their way to Wembley, and they've done it in some style. Been wonderful to have your company here for this game. It's been brilliant to share it alongside Dean and alongside Jim Proudfoot as well.